What's up, guys? Welcome back to Macrodosing. PFT is unfortunately still out dealing with some personal issues. Nothing too sinister, just needs to take some time away to take care of some stuff. Back in the studio, we got Arian from far away in Texas. We got Wonton Dong back with us since nanodosing. We had a great time.
Did you just say Dong?
I said Dong. I didn't say
there
Wonton.
was a G.
There was not a G. Big T, Avery, Mad Dog. So I don't know if you guys saw, but
Wonton Dong. I'm still not over that.
Okay, it was one slip up. But,
Yeah,
we got there. We got there.
I've been called that before.
Oh yeah,
Maybe. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
first
for sure.
first time by a dude.
Yes.
Okay, very cool.
No, I've never had a chick be like, "Ooh, bring me that wonton dong."
Yeah. How did you guys Dozens performance go?
So, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched The Dozen yet, 1, go watch it. 2, spoiler alert, we lost. But there are upsides to this.
Okay.
The 3 of us, I think, outperformed what anyone expected. So that's great. Big T did have a little bit of a slip up on the first question. Did not trust Arian with his answer.
It's not that I didn't trust him. It's that, and I should have gone with that because none of us had any idea. Arian, it was the X, I forget the guy's name, is the new head coach of this Western Conference NBA team, and Arian was like, Jazz, and I was like, do you feel good about that? And he was like, no. And I was like, I didn't know that the Jazz had fired their coach, so I was like, so I just guessed. I should have said Jazz, but I said Thunder, and it was the Jazz. Granted, we lost by 3, so
yeah. Also,
I wasn't mad at that though. You know what I'm saying? That's why I ain't tripping. It was like I wasn't that sure. It was kind of like a guess. Because I came across my Twitter timeline like something about the Jazz, and so I wasn't like super mad about that. You know what I mean? It was we got the team morale is high. That's what I care about. The team morale high. I do have a small issue with your niche category.
Yeah, so we're changing the niche category immediately.
I feel like your niche category should be something that we all relatively know pretty well, or at least 2 of us. And I felt like me and you could have probably hinged the bets on like Tennessee ball or something like that.
So here's the way it used to work.
Okay.
It used to be each person had one. I had one, you had one, Madeline had one, and the other team picked which one you got. And Jeff asked me, what is your niche category? He didn't say your team's. So I said One Tree Hill, which show I know a lot about. I under the impression he was asking y'all that same question.
No.
Turns out that's not how it works anymore, and I was giving him the one for the whole team. So, but he also, you're not allowed to use the same one twice in a row anyway. So our next one has to be something different regardless.
I would really like my niche category to be used because I do know it inside and out, and it's One Direction lyrics. And
that shit had me rolling, dog. That our niche category topics for that round, like ours was One Tree Hill and theirs was Jonas Brothers lyrics, and I was like, yo, I'm out. I have no idea what any. There was no chance of me getting either one of those. I was out.
The thing about sports is, though, the reason I didn't do sports, if you do something with sports, Jeff makes it incredibly hard.
That's why we're doing One Direction lyrics.
Yeah, some of them questions was like 2011 SEC points leader. Like, fam, that's so crazy.
I mean, fuck
Jake Malsack, by the way.
That's crazy. That's what I'm saying. That's crazy. Yeah. I thought I was an NBA fan. They was asking some crazy questions.
What did Jake Malsack do?
I have a plan, real quick. I have a plan on how to study for this. I'm gonna share it with you after the pod, Big T.
So Mad Dog, would you like to explain why you said fuck Jake Malsack?
Oh, Jake knows this. So welcome Jake Malsack to the podcast.
Did you tell him to come in here?
I didn't.
Yeah, I prepped for this.
Oh, okay. So Billy, you're going against me. Fuck off. Okay.
I don't know. I just think he should be here to tell his side. What happened?
If you don't know who Jake Malsack is, he is on my social team. Him and I, would you consider us friends, Jake Malsack?
I would.
Okay. Yeah. Jake and I sit behind each other at work. We spend 8 hours a day together. Jake's one thing is UVA football. Don't say anything. Don't interrupt me. Jake's one thing is UVA football. That's what he's known for on Twitter. That's what he's known for around the office. So out of nowhere, Jeff throws a UVA football question at us. Big T agreed with me on this. I said, We have our phone friend. We don't know the answer. UVA football, Jake Malasek. It is a natural occurrence of events. Am I wrong, Big T?
Yeah, hindsight being 2020, it was a mixture of an Alabama and a Virginia question. We should have called Trav.
But again,
But I was like, yeah, who was Virginia? It was basically this guy was AJ McCarron's backup at Alabama. He transferred to Virginia and played for a season.
who was it?
So I was like, it's basically
Jake.
asking who was Virginia's quarterback in 2013, which seems like a pretty easy question for a self-professed Virginia super
football fan. So we call Jake in. Absolutely has no fucking idea what the answer is. I, in hand, also Jake Malasek makes me mad 5 to 10 times a week. So
this guy's the woat.
yeah, he's the worst. So I lost my shit. And then after we lost, again, this wasn't the make or break of the game. Momentum shift for sure. I went off on Jake Malasek and pretty much turned the whole entire social team on him for a little bit.
I wasn't mad that you missed the question. I was upset that you missed the question. I was mad afterwards that you said I was 14. Like that was
like you weren't a sentient being.
Like that was an excuse to miss it.
I just brought Jake in to tell his side of the story because I thought it was pertinent to the story of this game.
Oh, Jake loves telling his side of the story.
No, all I'll say about this is, like my parents went to UVA. They went to business school there.
Oh my god.
So like
this is making it worse.
Like I have technically like been a UVA. I haven't been another college fan. I will say this: like my dad's from Eastern Europe. My mom's a Jew from New York. We weren't really sports people growing up. Like I had to teach myself. I probably watched my first football game when I was 14. So like I wasn't really
Should
into
be like
the whole
fresh in
thing.
your mind.
I also looked up this guy. The answer was Philip Sims.
Yeah.
Didn't even start on a 2-10 Virginia team. So it's not like he was a legend or anybody that was really notable at Virginia at the time. That night, I actually went to my buddy's apartment to watch the Monday Night Football game, and they all went to UVA. And I asked 7 of them, and one of them knew who this guy was. So I feel bad that I missed the answer for you guys.
Right.
Big T missing his niche and Fran stealing it is definitely way worse than what I did.
Again, we learn and we grow.
Whoa. Ain't gonna come on the pod.
I'm just saying.
And just start dogging the
Arian,
homies.
this is what he does.
Who
Who
told
told Jake to come in here?
Listen,
Billy.
I accept. Yeah, I wasn't even that mad at you. But what we not gonna do is dog the homies.
No, Big T knows I love him too.
This is what Arian. This is what Jake Malasek does, and this is why he's voted.
It's called the spin zone.
He spin zones you, and it makes you feel crazy. He gaslights you. If you're a girl, don't talk to Jake. He'll gaslight
Mad Dog,
you.
would you like to apologize to Jake? Because I think you had a very
there's
good
no
argument.
apology
Damn.
necessary.
I get like this with Jake all the time.
I missed the question. I feel bad, but
There you go.
it
And the sentence right there.
Also,
End
he
the
didn't
sentence
feel
right there.
bad in the
Okay.
moment. I
would have felt
clear.
way worse had I have heard of the guy.
Last question for Jake. Jake, how is Mad Dog as a boss?
A boss. Okay.
Is she your boss?
No,
I thought you said she's on your social team.
Yeah, like
we're
they
on it
work
together.
Oh, I thought you
No,
said
the
your
way she-
social.
the way she phrased
The way she phrased it was that you
It
were-
was some
you were
clever
girl bossing.
verbiage.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't even trying to be clever. We sit next to each other.
She's like, she's on my team.
Oh yeah,
We are
Sounds
on
like
the
it's your
same.
team.
We are teammates.
Is it your team?
No,
Are you the me and team?
no, that would be Gaz.
Okay.
But look, they're a good trivia team. We have several more games we're gonna play, and we were fine. We were fine.
I'm excited about it.
Also-
let's go.
Not to toot my own horn, but I slayed the dozen round. It was awesome.
Yo, you saved us a
Or
lot of
the bonus
joints.
round. The bonus
The
round.
Waffle House joint
Yeah.
killed that shit.
I mean-
But to be fair, Carl's Jr. was on there.
Yeah, everything. We all slayed it collectively. That was like an awesome
like, that shit
showing
was-
by us.
That was good stuff.
It kind of makes me sad that like the one thing I knew really well was fast food restaurants. Like that's not a great look on my part.
I think we all killed that though. I was happy
But we
with
killed
our
it.
performance.
I was proud of our performance. And we only have room to
When
grow.
do we play again?
It's
We
like a
don't know,
rotation. We don't
but-
know yet.
You might not play for like
Some
months.
Yeah, it's like
I was on a team and we got rotated out
Yeah.
with a 2-1 record.
yeah.
There's now like
There's
20
24
teams. Yeah,
teams.
24 teams.
Yeah.
I think they
I thought it was like a
Questions are
tournament. Is that a
hard.
tournament?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Jeff said he has us slated to play 3 times.
Half the questions are related to sports and
Mm-hmm.
sports trivia. I just don't know.
I got a sports
Yeah.
trivia question.
Love
right?
sports, don't know sports trivia at all.
I mean, the thing is, I like the questions before 2010. I'm just lost.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's hard. But again, that's nice because Arian like is
Yeah.
a bit older and he has that and he
Yeah.
was like in college and doing that. I will say I'm sorry, I'm so mean to Jake Malasek, but I'm really not. He deserves it most of the time. He's an asshole. I mean, is that
Damn.
I
Yeah,
think that's a
all
little
right.
cruel. I think
No,
Jake's-
Jake
A lot of
Mouse.
animosity
he hustles.
towards
He
Jake.
works hard.
I don't really know him that well, but now I'm definitely going to view him as
He
an
makes me-
asshole.
No,
He makes me so mad all the
He's-
time.
Jake's actually he's been on the bottom of the totem pole of the social team, and he got a little what's the word?
Big for his britches?
No, when you're naive and then you get angry afterwards, he is not scolded. I'll think of it in a
Scorned.
sec. Scorned. He's scorned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake also
Jaded. That's what I was looking for.
Jake loves
And angry afterwards.
Jake loves to ruffle my feathers. He loves to just kind of dig a little deeper. He knows how to push my buttons.
Jaded.
I don't think so.
Loves pushing my
Jaded.
buttons.
Jaded was the word I was
Nice.
looking for.
Naive and angry afterwards. I'm not giving you that one.
Good
either.
kid though. Good kid though.
I am going to blow my brains out and blame it on him, though.
That maybe was intense, but I was so
Yeah.
that made me that he got the
Who
UVA
the fuck was
Hank
that?
the
yo?
hater.
Hank has entered the studio
Yeah.
because he's
Hater.
lost
So,
something.
you can't just walk in on the pod like that.
He was
fam.
trying to be
What's happening?
sneaky.
Yeah.
He was trying to be
Y'all
sneaky.
saw- y'all soft.
He did
can't
it-
just
he
let
did his
people
little
walk in
shush.
like that,
He's
bro.
he's all of our boss. He could
Sorry.
cut our show in a second.
No,
Yeah.
you guys are good.
Cap, you ain't cutting this shit. You want to see me.
He's gone.
Um,
But yeah, so I'm excited. I think we did really well.
how's Christmas abs going for everybody?
Oh,
Oh man, I took a bad dip on the other side the last week and a half.
I've been doing really well. I've been on a meal plan. Actually, I've been working out every day. I started Pilates. That's really hard. I did, in fact, have a lunch, a work lunch today, and we went to Melt Shop. That's a tough look. by me.
So for me, I've been doing a lot more cardio, keeping up, like doing more cardio than upper body, but also keeping with like the heavy leg days because that cuts a lot of weight. But what's been happening is I've ended up just like losing muscle mass.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm trying to do less cardio, more strength.
So I'm thinking the best way to maintain muscle mass when I'm cutting is using concrete. Concrete is creatine HCl. It's a much better much better compound than creatine monohydrate, typical creatine, which causes tons of digestive problems, bloat, and you drink so much water. It's the best creatine. It's a myth that creatine is a type of steroid. Creatine is a natural molecule that your body produces and presents in various foods because your body needs more than it makes. Creatine is not just used for bulking up. I'm using creatine to maintain my muscle mass while cutting. It actually helps you put on lean muscle mass, muscle endurance. It is an essential compound for working out. Concrete is the number one bioavailable creatine with 70% greater plasma uptake than standard creatine. Concrete is the only microdosing creatine. I take 2 scoops because I'm over 200 pounds. So 1 small scoop per 100 pounds of body weight a day. It's absolutely required for functional energy in every cell of your body. Your muscles need creatine to perform optimally and grow stronger. And not only your body needs creatine, your brain needs creatine. Your brain uses about 20% of creatine in your body just to think. Concrete fuels your body and mind. Take control of your health, both body and mind. Build a better you with Concrete. Register now at concrete.com-podcast. That's CON-CRET.com/podcast to receive free membership to Planet Fitness for an entire year, plus a $500 Walmart Visa gift card. That means you can get your workouts in with the Planet Fitness membership, and you can get your gains in with the $500 Walmart Visa gift card to eat the food that you need to work out best. It's available now online and in-store at Walmart. Concrete is truly life-changing and performance-enhancing. So yeah, that's how I'm getting to my Christmas abs.
Arian
What are
was
Christmas
roasting
apps?
you in the group chat while you were
Hey,
giving
Kev.
that out.
That's fine. I'm actually feeling pretty
Hey.
hot on the ad placements. So we're just keeping it going.
You gotta space them shits out. Like you literally just read an ad, bro. Like you can space them shits out.
He's eager.
It's like 2 ads in 20 minutes.
Well, I
That's
won't
not
forget
lit.
them. I won't forget them.
It ain't about you. It's about the listener. Nobody wants to have
I
2
know,
ads
but
in
now,
10 minutes.
but now we can just get it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're here.
And if we're on like a tear, we don't have to stop.
Yeah, we don't have to stop.
My
you like
Christmas ad.
you like a YouTube. You like walking
Oh,
YouTube.
I'm like a YouTuber?
7 ads back to back to back. Ah, these be
What's up, listeners?
How's your Christmas abs, Avery?
Oh, I'm down 8.5 pounds.
Wow.
I'm rolling.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. We're
talking
getting
about.
there.
Big T and I got a big basketball game tonight.
Heard.
Whoa.
It's first game of the season.
For what?
How did this come about? Somebody fill me in on the deets.
Yeah.
So
Where do you play?
we have we've been playing pickup all summer with a couple guys who live near each other and It's a lot of fun. But now that it's becoming winter, we found an indoor league we can play in, and I'm absolutely hyped.
Which I'm very excited about. I've not played an indoor basketball game since I've lived here.
Can someone film
You can't
this?
do it.
We should actually get someone from Stool Scenes to come.
Now let's like third game. Let's get the kinks out a little bit.
But I'm excited. I mean, just been playing so much pickup.
Yeah,
and now we
Zupi's in
can-
that group chat. He could do it.
I am excited. I took collegiate intramural basketball more seriously than I've taken just about anything in my life, so it feels good to have that rush back.
Do you think you and Big T could beat the whole yak in basketball?
Oh, 100%. Just us two?
Yeah,
Just
just you two.
actually, yeah.
Okay, I mean,
Big T,
who's the
Big T
yak?
gets rebounds.
um,
We'd absolutely.
It's a show here. It's Big Cat. They have like 7 people.
Nick.
yeah,
Your
they
friend
have like
Nick?
The
7 people,
whole-
but none of them can really play basketball. I would
7 on
say,
2, 5 on 2, yes.
okay, yeah,
5 on 2.
5 on
yes.
2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excluding Big Cat, because he's got a jumper.
Yeah, he's probably the only one
Yeah.
on the squad that can actually play a little bit.
And that's what we need. We need like an intramural championship within Barstool.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah, I think just having Arian on the squad, like you guys would dominate
So
a lot of sports.
Curtains.
Arian has that. I'm not trying to, dick ride right now, but Arian has that natural athletic ability that he picks it up instantly.
Mhm.
So like we get
Those
on
are
the court,
facts.
we get on the court for the first time outdoor. He's in slides and no warming up. He's just hitting threes, just consistently on the dot.
That's from hard work. I
Right.
put a lot of time in on the hardwood, Dougie. But you ain't lying. Like,
But
I was
it's-
playing golf yesterday. I went for a round, and I played maybe like 10, 15 times prior to that. I've had clubs and shit, but consistently I've been playing for like a good month, like every week for about 2 times a week. And I was playing with this old head, and he was like, "Your technique is amazing," and I was like, "I know. I'm gonna try to break in a year. I'm gonna try to break par in a year. I'm taking lessons. I'm gonna break par in a year.
What's par?
70.
70? Whoa.
70. Well, it depends on the course, right? It was like 70,
70,
71.
72.
I know like in those numbers because Foreplay does all those videos like breaking 100,
Yeah.
breaking 90
Caleb was doing vids too. He was trying to get to par.
to 50. He
And-
was trying to get to 57 strokes.
No, I think he was trying to
That's
take
how high above.
51. Yeah, he was
Be on tour.
51
He's
strokes
breaking-
above
Yeah.
par, so he was trying to get rid of those.
I'm in denial about having to start playing golf because my post collegiate athletics is done. So I'm like trying to do this basketball things. I hope that scratches the itch before I have to pick up golf.
Well, the only reason
Golf is fun, bro.
I
Yeah.
know, but I'm in denial because I suck at it because I haven't played ever.
the only reason you would have to pick it up, which is happening to me now, is all of my friends play now. So like we
Yeah.
went to a bachelor party and they're just like waking up every morning and playing golf for 6 hours. And so it's like, do you want to hang out with your friends or
I know.
do you not want to hang out with your friends?
There's two types of golfers. There's the cats that are like, fuck it, I'm out here because everybody else out here. I'm just gonna drink. Every time a cart girl come, I'm gonna get like 4 or 5 drinks. There's that kind of golfer, and then there's like people who like just love this shit. Good shots, bad shots, they're obsessed with it, and it's you get the bug. And it's just I'm that right now. So I'm playing 2-3 times a week. It's fun though. I think you give it a whirl. But the thing about it is, this is what I actually like about it. Every other sport I've ever like engaged in, you can kind of be an athlete about it, right? You can figure it out athletically. Golf is not that. Golf is pure technique and repetition, and you can't just muscle your way through it. You have to actually practice that shit, and you can't just fake the funk. That's what I
Yeah.
like about it. So it's challenging mentally and physically.
I'm big on whenever the guys want to go play golf. I'm like, oh, let's go to like the driving range, like that. That's fun to me. That's like hitting shit far. That's fun. But like,
You're like a top golf guy.
yeah, that's really fun.
Well, I think once you start really not caring about your score, like out of college, I was, like a 10, 12 handicap. Like I was actually very serious about golf. But then like I started playing with my friends and like they didn't care. So I just stopped caring. And it makes it a lot more fun.
I don't even keep score when I go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take
I
like
keep score. I'm
No.
too competitive. I'm too.
I see
I'm
that.
just not talented enough to keep score.
Yeah.
And when you start getting to the point though where you can birdie and you can par on a consistent basis, like the competitive nature kicks in. You're like,
Yeah,
I want to
Yeah.
score well.
Once I stopped caring, I stopped keeping score. But there are like fun side games you can play. Like there's a game called Wolf that's really fun. There's a ton of like really fun side games you can play in golf.
Scrambles are fun too. Like
Yeah.
you're playing a scramble.
Absolutely.
Scrambles is like you just play best ball within your group. And that's just like fun. You competing with everybody else, but not your group. Your group is like all playing together, so it's like the best shot. That's fun.
Yeah, I like that.
I have a concept that I think you would like called adventure golf. So it's on this like crazy course where there's cliffs and waterfalls and jungles and stuff. So like you might have a hole, you have to like hit it up onto this cliff and then actually climb that cliff. And then, or you have to hit it across a river and then you actually have to ford the river by either like making a raft or just trying to swim across.
Is that a thing?
No, it's not.
Oh, you made it up.
It does not exist. But I think it's a concept. So, it kind of like involves the joy of golf with the
Exploration.
excitement of like outdoorsy activities, extreme activities.
That's what I liked about pheasant hunting. Videos coming out with Sydney Wells, Barstool Outdoors. Pheasant hunting's like that.
Yeah,
Kind of.
you guys had to. I mean, I thought pheasant hunting was pretty tame because they're all
it is
just
pretty
like
tame, but like if you can get athletic with it, like a lot of guides will just like set it up, but like when the birds run, a lot of guides won't chase after them. They'll just look for the next down bird. But some guides be like, if they're with a good group, you can chase after the bird, and that is a rush. You're chasing after the bird, the dog's running in front of you, and like the dog's sniffing out the bird, and the bird pops up, and you're sometimes running with the gun on the run, making shots, and it's like Call of Duty.
it sounds like a blast.
It's so fun. And literally, bang, blast.
Now, did you guys eat the pheasants afterwards?
Yeah, Chef Donnie chefed them up. It was awesome. I actually still have a bunch of carcasses in my freezer. I have like a ton. I've been meal prepping with them.
It seems like a tasty bird.
Yeah, very tasty. But you got to you got to like keep it greasy because it does get dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
With a duck, you don't have to worry about it getting dry because
Oh, yeah,
those things
duck.
are oily as fuck, but
Yeah.
I love them.
I mean, Peking duck is so good.
Yeah. I think it's the most delicious bird out there.
Yeah. You guys ever had
Donnie, what's
Peking-
the like most? I was about to ask Donnie, what's the most exotic like dish that you have consumed?
I don't know if you've talked about it on here before, but balut was pretty exotic. That's what they eat in the Philippines. It's like a duck embryo.
Oh yeah.
So it's like an egg that's half developed into a fetus. So you crack open the egg and you might have like a little bit of a beak, a little bit of a feather, but then half of it is still just like an embryo. That was disgusting, but it's a delicacy in the Philippines. So to each their own.
That's wild.
Pigeons are pretty good. Those are popular in China. I mean, I don't think you'd want to eat a New York pigeon, but
Have you ever had like a snake heart?
I took a shot of snake blood in Taiwan, and it's funny. This place that I got it from was right across from all these whorehouses, and I guess Taiwanese people think snake blood gives you a really rock hard boner,
Yeah.
so they would rip shots of snake blood and then go bang hookers.
Yeah. Snake. You can see how that thinking took place.
Yeah. But snake meat itself is actually
Yeah.
very good.
I took a shot of snake blood once. Very different scenario, but
What were you doing?
not that. Just sort of fucking like they had it for sale in Chinatown, and me and my buddy were like, "Yo, let's just do it."
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know they really
Pearl
sold
Street.
snakes at the Chinatowns here in the U.S.
Yeah, you gotta
Cool.
know where to look.
Okay.
Petco.
Yeah. Snake meat is good. I think I
Old
might.
pod joke.
You were drinking snake blood at Petco. Roll it up. We would buy your corn snake. Okay, we're just drinking the blood. The
Yeah.
Petco's employees like, what are you doing?
I also saw that vid of a guy who gets high off of snake venom somehow. Have you seen that?
Dangerous. That is dangerous.
Very
They
dangerous.
get.
I don't know
You said they
why-
get high on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
He like injects himself with.
oh Jesus
snake
Christ.
venom.
I can see licking toads. That's a pretty classic one. I mean, Mike Tyson does that. Some people lick the wrong toads and just basically get a bad trip. like people mix up the Colorado River toad, which is the prime like toad that goes down into Mexico that all the original peoples used to use in ceremonies. But the marine toad's the one that's in Australia, like the big ones that in the invasive species.
Yeah.
That just blew out of control. And those ones have bad poison. So only source your toads carefully when you're thinking of trying to trip with them.
I mean, would you be able to get a psychedelic toad to the office?
I could. I could actually look it up right now.
Yeah, because I did watch that video of the guy who went down to the Amazon to find this one type of toad that gets you really high. But I assume there were like laws about actually trying to traffic that toad into the U.S.
Well, okay, so $100 for about. This is a baby though. They're expensive because all the adults, when they start secreting the poison, they're very expensive. So this one's going for $100 for a sub-adult. No California sales are legal. It's legal in New York. Oh, another place has it. Oh, sold out.
Yeah, I mean, we should see where Mike Tyson gets his from. I would do a toad. I would lick a toad in the studio.
Where does Mike?
So for us non-understanding what the fuck y'all talking about, you lick a toad and it makes you hallucinate.
So the toad poison, which they secrete from poison glands that are on either side of their shoulders, has DMT in it, and that's all the rage with the rogies.
Sounds like it also has poison in it, though.
Right, but the poison is the DMT. It's supposed to make the whatever prey animal that's trying to eat the toad trip out and totally forget about eating it.
Yeah. Mike Tyson has tripped off toads 53 times in his life. So he must have a toad guy.
Yeah.
What's the name of this shit?
Colorado River toad.
Well, that's just one type of psychedelic toad, right?
I think it's the best psychedelic toad. I think their poison has the highest amount of DMT where you're not actually getting poisoned. Because like a lot of dogs that eat toads, they like start foaming at the mouth. They go into cardiac arrest, and we're trying to avoid that type of. Because I think
Tyson said he tried the Sonoran desert toad.
I think the Colorado River toad and the Sonoran toad are closely related. I think the Sonoran desert toad is.
I'm sure he's tried a few different types. That's wild. I mean, it just seems like obviously doing shrooms is so much easier than trying to track down toad venom. But I mean, I assume toad venom is a lot more intense.
Yeah. So the Colorado River toad, the Colorado River goes through. I'm pretty sure the Colorado River goes through the Grand Canyon. Am I right in thinking?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
And that same river then goes into Mexico into the Sonoran Desert.
Okay.
They're the same. I think they're subspecies of the same.
Apparently, it's aphrodisiac too.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, the Colorado River toad is sometimes called the Sonoran Desert toad.
All right.
Yeah.
Or the Bufu alvarius.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if there's some like big milestone or special occasion, maybe we should splurge on a couple toads.
If we hit, how many YouTube do we got?
We got 26.3K, I think.
If we hit 1 million? If we hit 1 million.
A million?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking for more of an excuse to do this. Like maybe I'm 50K.
No, yeah. Go lower, go lower than that. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who listen to the show that aren't subscribed to our YouTube. If you do subscribe, we'll do a lot more fun stuff. But yeah, let's do 50K. I like that.
The thing is, the DMT trips I'm terrified of because I have friends in college who did it, and they say that like one of my buddies was like he felt like he lived a whole lifetime.
Yeah,
and like he had like whole experiences, like fell in love with someone and like had like a whole life somewhere. He couldn't really describe where he was, but he just experienced a whole life, and he lost it all when he came down.
Oh shit.
And like he was like, yeah, it like made me really sad for a while, but it then made me more appreciative of what I have now.
Yeah.
And
does he feel like his experience was real?
Yeah, he says it was so real. He said that in like he actually felt like he only really talked about this one person he fell in love with. Some people say they have whole families. Like I know some guy said like he had kids and a whole family and a whole life in a farm, and then he lost all that. This guy just lost like a girlfriend basically, and he was just like.
I know people see like a certain type of elfer, like a certain type of being, but I didn't hear of people like having relationships or families with them.
I don't know. But that's just wild to me. I don't know if I'm like, I don't want to put myself through emotional trauma just for a trip. Like I'm like okay with that. Like I microdose shrooms and that keeps me pretty on the right path.
Yeah, like one guy I talked to who did it, he said he saw the very beginning of the universe and he saw the end of the universe, and he just like saw it all. That when he came down, it was kind of like harder to go back to just like normal life after seeing all that. But for a lot of people, it's helped them, you know?
Yeah.
Just look at Aaron Rodgers. He's like, he says he just feels like a completely different person now, but in a positive way.
Yeah. Definitely rids you of negativities.
You teed off about anything?
No, I mean, it'd be hard to make me mad this week.
Yeah.
After, great weekend. There was an Alabama receiver who was going around punching Tennessee fans leaving the field. I don't know that I'm as personally offended by that, but
I saw some of those videos. I think he may have been there. I saw one video of him running off the field, and if he had actually hit that girl, she would be on the floor. Like I think he may have flipped them off and said something to him. And that's what the outstretched hand was. But
I don't think so.
You think a 230-pound wide receiver
I don't think he cocked back and punched her full force. Well, there's
you got the video.
Yeah, I'll send the video.
I'll send. There's two of them. There's
What's
one.
the name of him again?
I got tagged in one, and this asshole was like, "Don't show this to Arian because he's gonna side with the player and say that she deserved it." I'm like, shut the fuck up.
There's two of them. There's the one with the girl that's from further out, and then there's a guy who's holding his phone, and Burton reaches out and slaps his phone out of his hand.
Oh, he got booked.
That's fake news.
Oh, that's fake. It's Richard G. West.
The same fake account that got PFT. That guy's living rent free on this show.
Yeah.
He's got more plugs on this show than anybody else.
ESPN tweeted out a tweet from him. Nobody checks anymore. It's crazy.
It's unreal.
Send the video.
I think he knocked her hat off.
She's not wearing a hat.
It's tough.
The thing is that
Big T, you got the video?
Yeah, I'll send both of them.
A team rushing on your feet, like students rushing on the field after a loss, has to be like the worst feeling ever and the most angry moment ever. Like, I'm just
especially if they're all taunting him.
Yeah,
but I mean, it doesn't. If he actually punched a woman or even punched a guy, it doesn't really excuse that. But
okay, I'm watching now. She does react.
Oh no, the girl made her account private. The video's still all over Twitter. I'll go find it.
Maybe she made it private because she knew she was caught in a lie.
Oh, smacked him in the head. Okay.
Oh, just a little smack?
Well, she said smack. I mean, everyone's acting like he cold clocked her.
It's too.
It is.
I mean, it's too. And I mean, it looks like something happened, but I mean, which pixel are we looking at? You know what I mean? It's
and then here's the other one.
It's hard to see what happened. It's hard to see what really happened.
In this one, it's a first person, so you can see very clearly.
Oh, there's another one? Let me see.
Yeah, so if he did that to one person, it stands to reason that the video of him doing it to someone else.
Oh, this is to someone else?
Yeah, he did it twice.
Okay. Wait.
No, this is the one Billy just sent.
I sent two of them.
Yeah, Big T's just loading. Where?
Oh, it's loading? Okay.
Oh, he smacked a phone that was being put in his face.
It's not really in his face. The guy's just like filming what's going on.
Isn't that what DaBaby did? He got in trouble. Some like fan was trying to take a photo of him, and then he beat the living shit out of him.
Maybe. DaBaby's got in trouble for a lot of things.
The phone smacking one weak. That shit weak.
Didn't DaBaby kill somebody?
I don't think that's true.
That is.
It was in self-defense.
Yeah.
It was in self-defense.
Dude ran up at Walmart, pulled out a gun on him, and he shot back. He shot
nice.
first, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, not nice, Avery. Not nice.
You know what I meant.
It happens. Yeah, nah. No, yeah, he been in a lot lately.
Huh.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm doing great.
All right.
Nice.
Here's a little factor cap. I saw this article. I was killed and now I'm reincarnated as a boy, and I can prove it. A 5-year-old boy claims that he was an African-American woman killed in a fire and reincarnated. Little Luke Ruhlman spooked his parents as he began incessantly insisting that he used to be a woman named Pam when he was just 2 years old.
But how
Pam
can he
exist?
prove it?
So the young boy's mother, Erica, told Ohio's Fox 2 that her son began speaking of a woman named Pam from a young age, but the family didn't know anyone by the name. One day, Luke finally explained who Pam was. He turned to me and said, she recounted, I used to be, but I died and went up to heaven. I saw God, and then eventually God pushed me back down, and I was a baby, and you named me Luke.
Couldn't have provided a last name or
I think, yeah. I mean, if
something like that.
he can hang out with Pam's family and like just knows everything about Pam, then we might have something. But right now, he just seems like a very confused little boy.
Super Cap. I'm calling Cap.
If they
There's been a bunch of those stories over the years.
Right.
What?
The thing is, hypothetically, let's just say, like, there's a lot of thoughts on reincarnation that people who are reincarnated, they do remember their new lives as a child, but then once their memories start, they forget. And once they're able to communicate, they forget. And maybe he just got messed up and he was able to communicate before they took away his old life memories.
Yeah, I mean, it says they reached out to Pam's family, and they're like, he does bear a lot of similarities to Pam.
Pam's real?
Yeah.
Pam's real?
Yeah, so it said,
Pam was a real person who died.
What?
And
How does this 5-year-old know about Pam?
And they showed
everybody who was ever named Pam has died.
Yes.
Or will die.
But they showed him 5 photos of black woman, and he correctly picked out Pam. And I guess he and Pam both love Stevie Wonder and have an enthusiasm for playing the keyboard.
Wait, there's got to be.
Come on,
someone explain me this Pam story.
No, he kind of
bias.
explained it. There's a 5-year-old claiming that he was Pam, and then he finally explained who Pam was, that it was that she died and he was reincarnated as her. And then they found that there was this Pam who died in a fire.
Okay, he's from Ohio. Where is this? 1993.
This was in 1993, or was this when Pam died?
Pam died in 1993.
Luke claims he can remember leaping from the burning building to his death in 1993. Jesus. Before being reincarnated after he met God.
What?
But this is
he said he met God.
Yeah.
This is kind of like that story of, did you guys ever hear this story? I actually read it when I was younger. Heaven is Real.
Is that about the person who fell through the ice and was dead for like an hour?
Heaven is Real. Heaven is for real. And it's about a kid who his 3-year-old son had a near-death experience. And then when he came back, he started sharing details of his visit to heaven. But the thing is, his father was kind of a preacher. And, let me look at the exact. So he had an emergency surgery after having acute appendicitis. He describes to his incredulous family about having seen the surgeon operating on his ruptured appendix, his mother calling people in the waiting room to pray, and his father in another room yelling to God to not let him die. He also speaks of incidents where people he never knew or met about, meeting a great-grandfather who had long died before he was born, an unborn sister he never knew about who had died in a miscarriage, and having met Jesus. Colton is the kid, and Todd is the father. But wait, Todd Burpo is a pastor. Okay. So, I don't know. Kid sees heaven. Father just happens to be a pastor. Remembers it. That's kind of where I'm like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
That's lit. That's lit, bro.
He's been preconditioned.
Yeah.
I mean,
fire.
The brain is an amazing thing. Like, I have no doubt that your brain can create heaven if it's still like slightly on.
Yeah.
But,
And I mean, maybe he was just having a sick DMT naturally being released in his brain.
Yeah, because that's
he
what
was having near.
that's what they say happens when you die.
So I have a theory that exterior DMT use, like from a toad, might fuck up your dying moment, because you might have a feedback loop where your body stops producing DMT because the trip tells it to stop producing DMT. So like, when you do steroids and add testosterone to your system, your body stops producing natural testosterone.
Yeah.
What if that's what it's like with DMT, and then your DMT doesn't release when you die, and you just feel death, and it's terrible, and you don't get that like ethereal feeling when you die. You don't go towards the light. There is no light because your brain's not doing DMT.
I'm willing to take that risk. But yeah.
That's what scares me about the whole DMT playing.
Or just keep like a capsule of DMT on you at all times, you know what I'm saying? And whenever you feel like you're about to kick the bucket, go ahead and pop it a pill.
You have spies have the cyanide tooth.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Like DMT too, like to kill themselves.
Kick that shit. Yeah. I like that.
They're just crunching the tooth, and then they're like, don't die. You're like, nah, bro. This is my one capsule. I gotta go now.
It's a good idea.
Don't astronauts have some shit like that, like a death pill, or is that kind of folklore? They have like a pill that's like a suicide pill.
Someone was given a revolver. I'm pretty sure
That's extreme. There's
Yeah,
no
well,
way
you don't.
they were
You
giving
can't because you can't
In
shoot
space?
a gun.
No,
in
I'm
space.
pretty sure. No, the Russian cosmonauts were given a gun to fight bears if they landed in Siberia.
Yes, yep, yeah.
But it was
That sounds
also,
right.
but it was also like wink, wink, like getting a bad one.
Yeah, I mean, there are times where a cyanide pill would come in handy. Just like, I would much rather take a cyanide pill than just die alone, drifting off into space.
I don't know, man. Well, it depends. If my oxygen depletes, yeah.
We must have.
Starvation. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, dehydration. You're right. You're not wrong.
But I also don't know, like, is a cyanide pill a painless death? Like, that could still be a really agonizing death.
They disagree. So
I mean, I hope it's painful, because that's how Hitler killed himself, with a cyanide pill. So I hope he didn't just fall asleep.
We must have at some point talked about shooting a gun in space before, because I Googled, can you shoot a gun in space? And I've clicked on the first 3 results. And if I feel like this is the only place I would have discussed that.
How about Tom Cruise becoming the first actor to film a movie in space? They haven't filmed it yet, but
they're going for it?
they're filming a movie, and there's a scene in the movie where he'll be going to the space station in real life.
Oh, whoa, he's going to the space station?
Yeah, and they're going to film scenes for the movie there.
That's awesome.
I know.
Update on the cyanide pill. So NASA astronauts haven't had one, but Alexei Leonov, the first man to conduct a spacewalk, took one with him on his historical 12-minute stroll in 1965. Yeah,
because in case he got detached and just drifted off into space.
Yeah.
I think that, have you ever seen the music video for that? Like, this is ground control to make
yeah.
Freaking
Bowie.
David Bowie. Yeah. I think the music video is someone just like drifting off into space. It'd be pretty fucking freaky. That's why that movie Gravity was so scary.
Yeah.
That was so fire.
Also, Interstellar.
Yeah.
Getting trapped on some planet.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys think there's a chance you will ever go to space?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I mean, let's say hypothetically.
Yep.
Well, because they're David Grootman is that his name? That's the guy who always hooks Portnoy up at all the clubs in down in Miami and stuff. He just started a company where he's opening up this space lounge. It's attached to some sort of balloon. It takes you up into space, and then you can hang out there for 2 hours, and they have a bar. They're going to serve food, and tickets are $125K. So maybe Arian could afford that. Would you pay?
Could, but
$125K to go up and party in space for like 4 hours? I think it is.
How far do you go?
Can one of you guys bring up? It's called the.
So we did a research. I was looking up when Bezos went to space and that whole big shebang over the summer. Was it last summer or 2 summers ago? Where
Yeah.
It was that whole big shebang. He went up to space, and I did some research on it. And the height he got to was lower than the highest plane that has ever gone.
And they were there for like 5 minutes or like
Yeah, so
15 minutes.
he went up on the rocket, and they technically got to space, but planes, there's like a supersonic plane that has gone higher than him. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
you might as well. I mean, it's not.
Well,
that
what do they
special.
consider in space though? Because isn't space outside of the ozone layer? Isn't
Yeah.
that like the final?
Yeah, but there's planes that.
So he
can
got
get-
outside of that.
It's kind of like pseudo space. It's kind of like let's pretend we're at the beach and the space is the ocean. They like waited in where the waves crash on a calm day.
It's space, man. I mean, that's space. I'm gonna give it to him.
I mean,
That
they
was
got
space.
wet. They got wet.
That's what I'm saying. They got their feet wet. He didn't. He wasn't waist deep though, but he he
Yeah.
got wet. I ain't mad at that. But hypothetically speaking, Wonton, Don, I absolutely would pay 100 for 25K if let's say if it was like on the ISS, right, the International Space Station. I would absolutely pay 125K to go 2 hours and get faded in space.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and film the whole. Yeah, I would pay that. Absolutely, experience of a lifetime.
Can you bring up the photos, Avery?
Yeah,
If
I
that
don't know if
works.
I can because we're doing Discord.
Okay.
See?
Yeah. The
To see the universe without light pollution is like a dream of mine. Like I would love to see like the James Webb telescope pictures that are coming in. Oh my God, they give me
just
butterflies.
just to see if it's real. Like we have a
No,
joke.
it's-
Space
it's-
is fake, but like
It's
just
It's not a joke. We do not have a joke.
Big T thinks space is fake.
I just sent what Donnie sent me to the group chat.
That's legit.
and apparently you're up there for 4 hours.
Just for the view of the Earth.
Yeah. So you can't see the full ball, but you can definitely. Yeah, you're pretty high up.
Whoa,
I would absolutely, I would do that.
Yeah, and it's crazy how like
having dinner
Dave
up
Portnoy will like lose a bet and he'll be down 100K. Like
Yeah.
if I had his amount of money, like I would be signing up for things like this.
I mean,
just
some people rather sweat a game. Some people
Yeah.
rather have unique experiences.
yeah. But
That's amazing. Absolutely. And see, this is why I advise anybody, if you can, to get like LED lights in your house. It just brings the vibe. The vibes are just. I just imagine it was like a boring ass 1960s apartment vibe inside of there. It wouldn't feel as cool. If this feels spacey, this feels futuristic. So if you put like a LED light underneath your desk, it makes it feel way better.
Arian's like beautiful home looks like a college freshman dorm with all of the like LED lights around it.
Oh,
Yeah.
now, wait till y'all come. You know what I'm saying? We all gonna watch a football game at the crib on the couch and shit.
We're gonna watch Avatar with like blue
I got
LED
LED
lights.
facts. I got LED lights surrounding my entire
that's just-
living room, bedroom, lounge room.
That's just microdosing space.
yeah,
Just microdosing space. Just some LED lights. Just get a little touch.
I used to have them in my room, and it was like I liked it when you like could put it on like the rotating lights, and then you're just kind of like in a lava lamp. You feel like,
What's the TV update at?
oh yeah, how's your?
So so they was full of shit. So it's not gonna be 143 inches.
Oh,
We was down to purchase that, but they got back to us and said, okay, well, we don't actually make that size. And we're like, well, why? It says it right here on your site. And it was like, yeah, but it's specially ordered. I was like, okay. And they was like, so how do we specially order it? There's like, well, we don't make it that size. It was a very confusing conversation. And we was like, well, what's the biggest size that you have? And the biggest size that they sell that isn't paneled. Cause I hate panel TVs with the lines in the middle. That shit's tacky to me. No disrespect if you have panels on your TV, but so the biggest size they have is 98. So we going with 98.
that's still really big. What is that? 7 feet?
I like that though.
You said what?
I like that though. 98. That seems we're coming to watch the semifinal at Arian's house.
Come through, bro. Come through. Drinks on me, man. It's gonna be litty.
Might have to stream that.
That actually, if we made the playoff, that's when Avatar's coming out. So we should go there.
Come through.
Stream the semifinal.
Huh.
You gonna get drunk with us? What's your drink of choice, Big T?
You know what my drink of choice is, friend.
Orchie.
I don't actually.
Angry
Angry
Orchard.
Angry Orchard. Yeah.
Apples are red.
How about,
Apples are red, baby.
have you ever had a Magners cider?
Yeah.
I love Magners.
Yeah,
Those are good.
Magners on the rocks on a hot summer day. That might be my favorite drink.
Those are solid.
I like the Magners bottles because they're so big and you feel like you're in like an old Irish pub.
I've never drank a Magners because whenever I'm in a place that serves Magners, they always have really good Guinness.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I got to get the good Guinness.
They have a good pear flavor.
Then I miss the
Magners pear. It's crazy. Like in Ireland, they kind of just drink Magners and they drink Guinness in the winter and then Magners in the summer. And that's like the two drinks that 90% of the country
So there's
drinks.
this Irish thing I go to around St. Patrick's Day, and they drink Harp.
Oh yeah.
And Harp's another one, and I don't understand where's the room for Harp.
Yeah.
Who's drinking Harp?
I mean, Harp's not bad. And actually in Ireland, Magners is called Bulmers because they don't have the I think it's originally called Bulmers, but there's another drink called Bulmers in the US, so they have to call it Magners. Some sort of copyright infringement.
Have you ever had the original Budweiser?
From the Czech Republic?
Yeah. Like the one that they sell in
Yes.
Europe under Budweiser that isn't made by Budweiser America.
Yes.
I once came across a Budweiser
Yep.
and it is fire.
Yeah. The original Pilsner.
Yeah. Like the way from Budweiser, Czechoslovakia
Yeah.
or Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Or what is it now?
Before it's the Czech Republic.
Okay.
But before the Czech Republic invented the Pilsner, all beers were kind of like brown, heavy, and they created the first golden beer.
Whoa.
It's a fun fact. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then someone brought it to America and now they can't. I think they sell it. I think they might sell it under Budweiser. What do they sell in America under? They've got to sell it.
I think they sell under AB.
I know, but
So what's the difference between Budweiser and Bud Light?
A Budweiser.
Are they the same company?
Yeah.
Yeah, Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah. All right. So we are interrupting this podcast just to bring you a quick beer review, but it's a very special beer because it's my own. A couple years ago, I tweeted out that there should be a beer brewed specifically to be drank in the morning, and it should be called Dawn's Early Light. It was just like a throwaway tweet. I was super hungover. I drank one beer. It cured the hangover. And I was like, someone needs to actually start marketing beers just for that purpose. And I thought Dawn's Early Light was a clever name. And House Brewing Co., also the boys from the podcast Beers, Balls, and Business. Is that what it's called?
Beers, Business, and Balls.
Beers, Business, and Balls podcast. They're also micro brewers. Is that what
You could certainly say that. Yeah.
Nano brewers, maybe.
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
You're now nano brewers.
Whatever
Yes.
works for the name
Nano
of the
brewers.
podcast, yeah.
And so they saw my tweet and they actually turned it into a reality. So here we have Dawn's Early Light. It's brewed with yerba mate, right?
Oh,
So that's where it gets the caffeine.
we're a mate podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sometimes drink mate and go nuts. That
Yerba-
stuff's potent. Yeah, I got
it's
yerba.
very
I got
potent.
yerba at my desk.
All right. Yeah. I think it's one of my favorite forms of caffeine.
It's got a little more kick than that.
It's got quite a kick, but does it make you super jittery? Or?
No, it's got it's one of those plants that have a sort of, they haven't really tested it, but it's got a little narcotic type thing, like coca leaf type thing going for it.
All right.
That's in some of the other chemicals, but that's pretty awesome.
It's like definitely in our experience, you could feel it. It's like kind of not a head high, but it's like it definitely gets you going a little
bit of a
wakes you up.
buzz.
Yeah.
Have you thought of the societal implications of a beer that's made for breakfast?
Yeah, but it's not a beer that you're not supposed to wake up and chug like 6 of these.
Okay.
I think you only drink like one at a
They have
time.
mimosas and stuff like that on brunches. It's not a big deal.
There is oranges too.
All right. Yeah. Okay. You got oranges,
vitamin
yerba
C.
mate, and it's
Yeah, we can walk you through.
Okay.
So we when you said you're like, we need something to be brewed at breakfast or drinking at breakfast, we immediately thought, wow, what if you combined a Blue Moon with like tea and oranges, because you get the orange from the Blue Moon and you get the tea because the caffeine and things like that. So we basically, when we were testing this out, we're like, well, let's see what Blue Moon tastes like with orange juice.
okay.
And we're like, shit, that actually kind of works. Like, so that's what we did. It's a very basic Belgian wheat beer. Brewed it like a Belgian wheat, took like 4 weeks probably, and then we added some tea in right when we took it off the kettle too. And then we basically bottled it with, I think it was orange and mango extract. Yeah.
So you
basically
put real tea in it. It's not like you didn't like crush up a caffeine pill or something.
No
like
leaves.
That. Okay.
This
All
is
right.
the leaves from the tea, not even like just a bag of tea or bottle or anything
real
like that.
tea, real oranges, real everything.
All right. Well,
Let's test it
one
out.
sip. Everybody knows the rules. That is very refreshing.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Does it satisfy all your needs you were looking for in that moment before you tweeted?
Yeah, well, that was like a morning I was extremely hungover. I'm not hungover today, but this is definitely hitting the spot.
Well, we've tested it. We were hungover at one point when it was done bottling, and
Yeah.
it did help.
Okay.
So, and again, we're not scientists, we're not experts.
Yeah, I mean, the only caffeine alcoholic drink that used to be around was Four Loko, but they think there was like a legal case. They had to take the caffeine out, right?
Yeah.
But they're now a sponsor for Barstool, so definitely drink the non-caffeinated Four Loko. These you cannot get at the store, so I feel fine promoting them at the moment. So I think do only like 6 of these beers exist right now, or
You have 18.
I have 18. All
and
right.
That's it for now.
Okay, for now, I'm going to cherish those 18 beers. I remember the last time you brought me a 6-pack, my girlfriend just like drank one night, and I was like, I only have 6. What the hell?
She did then DM us. That's why we made the second case, because she was just like, I accidentally drank. I thought these were like an unlimited source. It was
Yeah,
like,
that
no,
was
we
like
had
that. I think
6.
that was
Yeah.
my last one, and she drank it.
We're like, who's this DM from? We're like, oh shit, it's Wonton Dodd's girlfriend. We gotta get on
well,
this.
I mean, it's very thoughtful that she reached out to you. Would you like to try a sip?
I'll take a sip. I'll take
Okay.
a sip.
That's a spirit.
I don't want to get Billy going.
Very floral aromas.
Sommelier Billy over here.
Very hoppy beer, but definitely can taste the floral aromas and a little bit of the small bitter aftertaste of the mate. Very
Okay.
nice.
Now,
Very
is it
nice
a very
beer.
hoppy beer, or is he just saying that to sound?
It's
like
not
he knows what
overly
he's
hoppy.
Okay, yeah.
It's
It's hoppier than a Coors Light, which is my
yes,
favorite beer for the
it's
record.
definitely hoppier than a Coors Light.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Listen to the Beers, Business, and Balls podcast, right?
Yeah.
So you guys talk about business, sports, and beer.
Yep.
Yeah,
All
that
3.
name explains itself, man.
Sweet.
That sounds like quite the combo. I really appreciate you guys coming through, and I'm going to make these 18 beers last.
There we go. And if you need more, we'll make more.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
But a Budweiser has slightly more alcohol. It's a little heavier.
Yeah, the Budweiser trademark dispute is an ongoing series of legal disputes between 2 beer companies from the Czech Republic and the United States who claim trademark and geographic origin rights to the name Budweiser. The dispute has been going on since 1907, has involved more than 100 court cases around the world. As a result, Budvar has the rights to the name Budweiser in most of Europe, and Anheuser-Busch InBev has the rights in North America. Consequently, AB InBev used the name Bud in most of Europe, and Budvar sells its beer in North America under the name Czechvar. So they do have it in America, and I'm going to find it. That is Czechvar. Okay, where can I get Czechvar? Actually, that if I can get some of this by this weekend, I will be so pumped.
So shall we talk some drug smuggling? Or,
Yeah.
I mean,
get into it.
it's completely up to you, Billy.
Is it smuggling time?
I think it's
I don't
smuggling
know.
time.
Is it, what time? How deep are we in?
We're about an hour
It
in.
doesn't matter.
Huh?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But hey, before we do drug smuggling, let's just promote the merch a little bit. We got
Oh,
new
yeah.
merch
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out today,
Fire
10
merch.
a.m.
Macro
So whenever you're
House.
listening, it might be out already. We got the Macro House. Billy's wearing it on the front, little Waffle House design. On the back, it's the whole crew. Billy, turn around, do a little
Oh
spin.
yeah, got the whole crew on the back.
Yep.
Real picture.
And then we got our new mids line. Bring back mids. Donnie's wearing it. I'm wearing it. You can't see right now. It's on its way to Arian, but I'm really happy with it. We did comfort colors on all, so it's really good quality clothing.
In the
Love the color scheme too.
in
Yeah.
the interview coming up, we actually discuss mids with the guy who moved a lot of mids.
Oh,
And
yeah.
He still to this day, after a long stint in prison and consuming new marijuana versus old marijuana, he's like, I am team mids. But before we get into drug smuggling, I just want to talk to you guys about Ridge Wallet. Ridge Wallet is an ultra slim minimalist wallet. It holds up to 12 cards plus room for cash. I know Big T has one. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. It's made with RFID blocking technology that protects you from digital pickpocketers. We all have the new card to touch touch to pay. And guess what? People can come up to you and make you touch to pay without you even knowing it. Just sneak up to you on the subway, crowded places, just see where your wallet is in your pocket, try to scan one of your cards, take money from you. With Ridge Wallet, they can't do that. They also have a new key case to help organize your keys. It secures anywhere from 2 to 6 keys. It organizes your keys in a compact silhouette and fold out for easy access. There are 6 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. Check out their site and use the code MACRO for 10% off your order. And now let's talk some drug smuggling. This got me down a real rabbit hole of smuggling of all kinds, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Billy asked approximately 7 times in our group chat, are we sure we want to do just drug smuggling or like smuggling in general?
I mean,
because I assume you have other.
Well, Big T, I mean, thinking about it, if you know the beginning of smuggling occurred right with the beginning of taxes.
Clue me in.
Taxes, smuggling was a complete reaction to taxes, to commerce taxes. Even types of smuggling were done in a localized way when they didn't even have to move goods to hide merchandise that was to be taxed by the king, by whoever was looking at how much grain you were moving, how much cattle you had. A lot of shepherds used to. This isn't technically smuggling. This is more tax fraud, but smuggling is a type of tax fraud in a way where they used to like hide their sheep in caves. So when they came to count their herds, they had a whole 100 head of sheep in a cave and no one could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool. Smuggling, the conveyance of things by stealth, particularly the clandestine movement of goods to evade custom duties or import or export restrictions. Smuggling flourishes wherever there are high revenue duties on tea, spirits, and silk in the 18th century England, coffee in many European countries, and tobacco almost everywhere, or prohibitions on importation, narcotics, or exportation, arms, and currency. I mean,
like the alcohol prohibition here.
Yeah.
That's when it was huge.
Yeah.
Rum runners.
Basically, a lot of economists never really took into account the impacts of the negative externalities of taxes on the economics. I got into a textbook weirdly on this earlier when researching it, but some are saying that taxes might not have the positive externalities are all just negated by smuggling. I thought, Big T, you'd like that. So basically, the economics of taxes don't work because of smugglers.
Hate to see that.
And some of the biggest smugglers in history were the Americans. America was almost strictly tons of the business in the Americas was all just smuggling. Because, I mean, some of the most notorious smugglers, because back when the British Empire had its arms everywhere, the sun never set, but all goods had to come straight back to England before they were traded with other countries. So let's say, for example, you were an island in the Caribbean and you were an English island, but you were right next to a Spanish island. You could not trade with that island without your English goods going right back to England first to be then sold.
Yeah.
So they could account for it. That happened with a lot of rum, a lot of, so that's where pirates sort of got their debut. They were doing deals outside of the arm of the law, and it's pretty interesting, just like all the stuff that's been smuggled. I mean, one of the things that we don't consider a drugs more so, but that's actually hugely prevalent even today with smuggling, is cigarettes. We are actually sitting on one of the biggest cigarette smuggling routes in history. It's called let me look it up exactly. But
does it go through Chinatown?
It goes through Chinatown. It goes, there's cigarettes coming from China in Chinatown, and they all go to New York City because of the tobacco laws in New York City, because a pack of cigarettes. I don't know what they are now. I know that Zyn is way too expensive and I buy it out of state. But they're so expensive that people are driving truckloads of cigarettes from Pennsylvania, Virginia, places where there's zero tobacco taxes, and driving them up 95, which has a funny name that I'm about to tell you.
I used to smuggle cigs.
Yeah.
When I lived in China, I would bring back like 10 cartons of cigs every time I came back, and then just sell them for like $5 a pop.
So Interstate 95, the interstate that goes all the way from Maine to Florida
Yeah.
is called the New Tobacco Road
All
because of
right.
how much cigarettes are getting smuggled from places with low tobacco taxes to places with high tobacco taxes. And Al Qaeda and Hezbollah were funding operations by driving from North Carolina to New York in 1999. And then in 2002 as well. That's how they were doing a lot of funding. Turns out one truck of cigarettes could flip for $2 million.
So if you're buying fake cigs or counterfeit cigs,
Real
then
cigs.
you're supporting terrorists. No, they're real
Yeah,
cigs.
yeah.
But if you're buying black market cigs, you could be supporting terrorism.
And actually,
Is that what you're saying?
this explains that. You know that clip from Goodfellas in the beginning where they're bribing the cops?
Yeah.
I never really understood it, but that was a carton of cigarettes they were selling to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, did you guys ever remember that scene in Goodfellas?
Never seen it.
Okay, guess that's more of a Northeast thing.
No, I've seen it. I just
Not
don't remember that
Northeast
part.
thing.
Remember the part where he's parking the cars and he's like, "And if the cops rolled through, we always knew how to deal with them." And it's
Oh,
just-
yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're like
yeah.
slipping like the papers to the cops with a whole carton
That's
of
a,
cigs.
that's a good little accent right there. Ain't it?
Ray Liotta, rest in peace.
Yo,
Jam-Pax.
this is vaguely I can't think of the word. This matches up, but so upon like reading about this a little bit, I found the first actual trap song.
Oh
So-
hell yeah!
Trap music is about, drugs and dealing and the lifestyle involved. I have not seen a trap song before this one, but this is the first trap song. It's called "Every Day Will Be Sunday When the Town Goes Dry" in 1919. So it was about prohibition,
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, shit.
which is fire. Which is like the first. I mean, it's the first trap song. Check it
So,
out.
but there's trap rap, but then like what's just the genre of trap is kind of like EDM, like mixed with hip hop, right? That's like its own thing.
That's new trap. And
No.
Yeah, because there is.
No. Trap music started like, I mean, you could debate, but like it really gains its reference in like the early 2000s, like with Gucci Man, Young Jeezy, like that.
Yeah.
Ti, like those kind of cats was kind of the first ones that drugs have always been referenced, but this was specifically like trap music. They made music, especially like Jeezy and Gucci Man.
Mhm.
They made music about selling and pushing
Yep.
at a really high rate, and they were really doing it. So it was like very unique in that sense. And so the new trap shit is like, that's kind of trap music, or hip hop in general has evolved into all trap drums, like
Yeah.
those hi-hats that
Yeah.
like that came from trap music.
Trapaholics.
So like almost every song now, pop song, has a
Yeah.
influence of trap music in it now. All like and this hip hop right now, I think, is the number one genre in the world. And shit, I've heard some country songs with trap influence in it, which is really wild when you think about it. But
Fetty Wap was making trap music, and it turned out he was really doing it too. Or I don't even
Really
think
trapping.
if he was like trapping at the time he was making the music, but then
no, he was. That's what it was about.
it was going all right. Because all I know, there was like he had that one year where he was the biggest musical
top.
artist he was on top, the biggest rapper in the world, and then I didn't hear from him for like 3-5 years until I heard he got caught running like a giant fentanyl ring.
He made enough.
Yeah.
He made enough money that it was actually probably more lucrative for him to just fund the ring than make music.
Yeah, but if you just make music, you don't run the risk of being put in prison for the rest of your life.
He had like 3 or 4 like worldwide hits that he could have just ate off. I mean, Vanilla Ice is still eating off.
Yeah.
Ice Baby. Fetty Wap had like 3 of those where it was like everybody knew Trap Queen. It's kick it, bro.
We
Just
haven't
chill.
listened. So,
I know that's
chill.
the cool thing about music. If you have like one hit song and you're smart about it, you can live off that the rest of your life.
Forever.
If you're an actor and have one hit movie, you're not necessarily going to be able to live off that one movie.
yeah,
Yeah. Depends on the movie.
I got.
Yeah.
I want to hear
Them
this.
residuals. I still get residual checks from draft day. And they
Oh,
like,
that's
they're like
Oh yeah,
they're like $4, but they
Okay.
come. They on time every time. But I imagine if I was like Kevin Costner and that wasn't even a big movie. Imagine I don't know, and pick a movie, Friday or whatever the case, or whatever, like, pick a white movie. And like the main actors in that, them residual checks is crazy.
I still want to hear this first trap song.
Oh, okay, but yeah. Donnie was hating on.
No, I'm not hating.
I'll fuck with you. Here it is. Every day will be Sunday when the town goes dry.
Can we play the song on YouTube? Or?
I don't think
It's
these
from
guys,
1919.
These
so-
guys
Yeah.
come back and sue us.
Yeah,
No. Copyrights. Those copyright laws go. They go away after 100 years.
Oh hell yeah, we're out there.
Yeah, you have to re-up it. So this is in 2019 we'd have got a strike.
So that means I could sample this song in like a.
Donnie don't want to hear the song.
No,
Man.
I really do.
I thought it was.
You keep trying to play it.
It was like 70 years after the person dies, because isn't that the thing with Disney? Like it's about to be 70 years since Walt Disney died, so they have to redo all their copyright.
I thought it was 100 years from its inception since it's on the market.
They got
They're not 70, because he hadn't been dead 70 years, but something like that.
They got Mickey Mouse Rubio, who's getting paid by Disney to like make those laws, to like negate the laws under Florida law. He's like part of the.
For works created after January 1st, 1978, copyright protection lasts for the life of the author plus an additional 70 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know,
so
if these
120.
trappers, these guys probably never had a record deal. I want to hear the song.
Yeah.
So 95 years after publication.
Okay, we can play the song.
So-
we can play the song.
I don't know, man. Donnie don't want to hear this.
No,
shit.
I'm locked in right now.
Okay.
I really want to listen to this.
Okay. Everybody be quiet. Let him play it.
Okay, Donnie. I'm about to press play, Donnie. So if you got something to say, just get it out right quick. We good? My dog. All right.
You positive you're about to play it?
Just give it a
Oh shit, you can't hear that? You know what it is? It's a Discord setting. Hold on, that's what it is.
Oh,
You couldn't hear it. Oh no,
We
no,
couldn't
you couldn't hear it. My bad.
Oh
Donnie.
wait,
No,
Discord has it so it's streaming friendly, so you can't play.
No,
music?
no. Discord does a really good job with their. This is like when we switch from Zoom to Discord. Like my audio quality super increased. They have this setting on there that is it like compresses everything, and so like background vocals and noise is you can't hear it. So like, hold on.
Here,
let me turn it
send
off real quick.
it into the group, and I'll play it. That's
Okay, we'll
actually
just do
really
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that's why that shit is. Just
I want
top
to.
notch.
I'm
Discord
really
is the
interested to
best
see
attitude.
if it's bluesy, country, soul. Like I want to see like because when I think bootleggers, I think of like the precursors of NASCAR, and probably there's a lot of history there that hasn't been released. All right, here it is.
I sent it.
Okay, we're pulling it up.
My bad, Donnie. I was falsely accusing you, bro.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Prohibition says John Barleycorn must go. He must fly off Widow Crow and the other brands we know. Old John has been champion for years beyond a doubt, but now it looks as if they count him out. Soon
Bars.
Frozen Sense and we'll be out of date. Yeah, when Prohibition comes, they get the gate. Goodbye, Hunter. So long, Scott. Farewell, take down the hay. Oh, my darling old Prepay, they will soon take you away. At the table those with Lola, they will serve us Coca-Cola. No more saying, let me buy. No more coming through the rye. Old Manhattan and Martini have received a big subpoena. Every day will be Sunday when the town goes dry.
I think we got the gist.
Damn, he snapped.
Yeah.
That was rhymey sing song.
Yeah, if someone actually rapped that verse, it would be better than a lot of rappers out.
Manhattan and Martini, you about to get subpoenaed.
Yeah, dude, that's a creative rhyme.
T-Pain may have rhymed mansion in Wisconsin, but this guy
He rhymed
Really did a good one.
Martini and subpoena.
Subpoenas. A couple subpoenas.
That's crazy that Coca-Cola is still popping. He's like, make us drink Coca-Cola?
That may have been back when Coca-Cola had cocaine in it.
I still think Babe Ruth.
Oh, it definitely was.
it was
Yeah.
like we looked it up last week. It was
Yeah.
like 1905 or something. So it was gone.
They definitely still had it in there because they've been importing the cocoa leaf still to this day. So I still think there's something in there. But prohibition's crazy because, so my grandma was talking to me about this, because I had my grandma came to visit me in college, and I had the sign on my wall that said, "We want beer," with the guys protesting.
Oh yeah.
Love that sign. It's hilarious. But my grandma was then like taking a teaching moment and be like, you know why they did prohibition? Because all the soldiers came back from World War I and had shell shock PTSD, and all they were doing was drinking. I was like, yes, grandma, like I know that's a real problem. And she was like, yeah, so those guys were actually like PTSD war vets. I was like, okay, thank you, grandma, for educating me on that. But that's why they did it, because all the World War I vets came back, and you guys have seen Peaky Blinders. They're all like being like back in France.
Yeah,
like, like chugging whiskey all day.
And that was before people really even knew what PTSD was.
Yes.
I mean, they would call it shell shock or whatever, but no one really understood.
Yeah.
And World War I was one of the most brutal wars ever.
Yeah.
There's really no way to measure this, I don't think, but I would love to know what percentage of the country drank on a regular basis, and how much they were drinking when prohibition was instituted as compared to now. Because I feel like if you tried to implement prohibition now, there would be a war.
Well, the drug war currently, I mean, there's a lot of workarounds, and it became very expensive. A lot of the saloons that still exist today in New York were just for the rich and wealthy. Like Gatsby was supposed to be during prohibition. So like the super rich would have parties with tons of Canadian liquor and all that sort of stuff. But the thing is, a lot of the smugglers, so basically there was a whole network when it came to prohibition of alcohol distribution, allowing guys like JFK's father, Joe Kennedy, to make a lot of money during prohibition. Al Capone to distributing, booze throughout the Midwest, deeper in the country, Chicago, from his connections out east. There was tons of booze runners down south coming from Mexico, the Caribbean. I mean, the
rum runners were called that because they would just have really fast sailboats and run it from the Caribbean into the U.S.
And then the birth of NASCAR, the acronym NASCAR stands for National Association of Stock Car Automobile Racing.
Yes.
Sounds right to me.
Did I get that one?
Yeah. Stock car auto racing.
And the thing it developed, the whole racing car, race car type thing developed because you had a bunch of these booze runners, prohibition bootleggers who were making this corn whiskey up in the mountains because that was the only way they could make it. And then they built super fast cars with lifts.
Mm-hmm.
So that, the funny thing about lifts is they're hugely utilized by smugglers back in the day, because if you could lift your truck and disguise the weight of the vehicle, so like a lot of cops, when they're looking for cars that are carrying tons of weight, they can tell that it's sitting, the tires sitting high in the wheel well, the whole body of the car sitting low and lower to the ground. And because of that, lifts allowed them to disguise how much booze was in the car and how much weight was in the car. And then they were making the cars super fast to outrun the cops, because back then they didn't have any of the, police forces we have today where they could coordinate where someone was running off to. So they were going down these back roads, racing with booze in the back of these cars, just going as fast as they can. And then all these bootleggers like, hey, my car, I souped it up. It's this fast. I bet my car is faster than your car, as people do, especially when they're drinking. And then that was the burst of stock car racing, the burst of NASCAR.
Oh, shit.
That's like one of the greatest facts I learned ever, that this came to that.
And did you learn that just by doing research on drug smuggling or smuggling in general?
No, I knew that. That was one I learned way back when I should have been studying for something, just on Wikipedia.
Okay.
But really cool stuff. And all those we're now getting to the time of the year where the radiators are clanking in the background. Sorry if you hear that.
Yeah. So my fiance's parents worked in Saudi Arabia for maybe 20 years, and she lived there for the first 7 years of her life. So that's a place where there still is prohibition. There's no booze allowed, obviously no drugs. And so her parents used to just make their own booze in the bathtub, something like that, and then invite all the neighbors over to drink. But the reason I bring that up is because a crazy drug smuggling story I heard from her dad is like the Saudi royal family, those guys all love doing drugs. Like they love doing meth and cocaine and things like that. But obviously you can't just like bring that in on your private jet. So what they do, and this is really fucked up, is they pay like 10 different Pakistanis each $5,000, which is just like a drop in the bucket for them.
Yeah.
To try to bring in a bunch of meth or coke. And they know like 7 out of those 10 are probably going to get caught. And when you get caught in Saudi Arabia, you get beheaded.
Yeah.
But they know 3 of them are going to get through with their drugs.
Whoa.
So they're just like playing with these Pakistani drug mules' lives. And like the people they target for this, like they offer them $5,000. That's more money than they have ever seen in their lives.
Hopefully they get it before. So they can at least give it to their families.
Yeah. Hopefully that's the case. Yeah, so a lot of them get caught. Like a lot of the mules that get caught, they're just bringing it in for the royal family, but the royal family just doesn't want it traced back to them.
Yeah.
And her dad was actually invited to a public beheading once there.
Whoa.
And yeah, he had this one coworker who was like also from the US, and he was like, dude, you have to come with me. You have to come with me. What? And he kept on trying to convince him to come for like 5 months. And eventually he was like, all right, I'll go. And he went, and he said it was like the most horrific thing because like they showed up and they were some of the only people from the US there. So they're like, oh, you guys can sit front row. Like, oh come here.
Jesus Christ.
The guests of honor.
They got splattered.
And no, they didn't get splattered, but they said it was like a spectator sport there. Like, you know, probably like thousands of people all show up to watch the public beheadings.
Jesus.
And they're still doing that today.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, like public beheadings in like England, shit, like the guillotine was your Sunday outing.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was in France. I feel like the guillotine would be a relatively
good way,
not a bad way to die, but no one really knows. Like no one knows if that.
It's like I'd imagine the anxiety is like horrible, but the in terms of actually dying, it seems like. Maybe
a lot of death,
like in your sleep.
If you know you're gonna die, a lot of death row inmates get this moment of peace. So if you hit that moment of peace, where you're like, then it's fine.
I mean, it's just lights out. Like
that's kind of what I felt about like fighting Jose Canseco. I was like super nervous for like 2 months, but then like 2 weeks before, I'm just like, it's happening.
Yeah, it's finally gonna be over.
Yeah, but you weren't gonna die.
Well, I could have. There was a chance.
There's a very
now we think, but back
you
then
could have killed
everyone,
him.
No,
yeah.
Now everyone's like, oh, it's so easy, but I was like scared shitless waking up in the middle of the night. Like it was terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, still, I feel like the worst case scenario for you would have been a concussion.
Yeah, like KO'd.
Yeah,
or it could go wrong. Brain bleed, you die. A lot of boxers did die in the ring. I mean, this guy was a chemically enhanced monster. Didn't know that he literally didn't train a second.
I think the reason they invented the guillotine was because back when it was just a man with an axe, he could definitely miss or fuck it up. And a lot of times it would take him like 3 swings.
Yeah.
And so if you're still alive after that first swing, so they're like, let's just invent a cleaner way to do it where there's not like room for error.
That conversely, worst way to die.
Yeah.
The axe guy with the black hood that always comes out, that must have been a terrible job. Who would have, I mean.
Yeah, like how did you become an executioner? Maybe it was like my dad was an executioner, so now like I have to become one too.
Long line of executioners. They finally say, we're not doing this anymore. Guillotine automates your job.
Yeah.
You're out of a job. You got to find new skill. Maybe travel to the new world, have some kids, try to find something else to do somewhere down the line. The genetic component of killing people, then you're Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Jeffrey Dahmer can trace his.
Can we trace some serial killers back to see if they were executioners? Back to smuggling. So during a lot of the 100 Years' War between France and England, there was a lot of smuggling of wine on boats. They'd use false embargoes, false manifests of what was on the ships. That was the big one. There wasn't too much inspection. And then that was a lot of how, bribery was usually a big one. with Prohibition. There was a lot of importation from Canada, a lot of old smuggler settlements up in Maine coming from Nova Scotia. A lot of lobstermen. Why lobstermen was such a big thing was because a lot of Canadians would come to Maine, and these guys needed a cover for why they're going out on boats. They're picking up booze, bringing it back to shore. But because lobster wasn't considered that much of a delicacy.
I know like way back in the day it wasn't, but
Yeah.
I assume during Prohibition it had already become a popular food.
There was a law in Maine. It was only when the French started demanding it because they thought it was like huge langoustine.
Yeah.
Maine lobster prisoners. But a lot of those lobstermen were making so there's off stories that long lobsters were only fit to feed the poor, that the prisoners in Maine penitentiary refused to eat them more than twice a week, and they were so plentiful and poorly regarded that farmers used them as fertilizer.
Yeah, they would just all be crawling on the beach.
Yeah, so but like a lot of these Maine lobstermen were also moving booze from Canadian, because I mean Canadian Club, is that whiskey?
Yeah, that type of whiskey.
Yeah, they were importing both Canadian whiskey, Irish whiskey, and stuff from Europe through Canada, and then you had all the rums from the Caribbean coming up through the port cities. Louisiana was a huge smuggler town.
Yeah,
because those people were just criminals imported from France, and they were just into it. And that same the Gulf of Mexico, that whole coast still is involved in smuggling. And we're going to get into a lot of the cartel smuggling, but just getting some precursors of smuggling that happened during Prohibition. But yeah, getting into, did you guys check anything out? Have anything about Prohibition smuggling you want to share? Or?
Yeah, I mean, when you just said the topic was drug smuggling, I didn't go as far back to Prohibition. Yeah. Most of the stuff I was looking up was like the last 20 years.
The opium wars in China. That was a classic example of the English actually allowed that to happen because they couldn't sell opium that much to other countries. So they were just smuggling it straight from India to China.
Yeah, they were bringing it to China because they wanted to buy like all the tea that China had, because they had gotten like all of the UK was hooked on tea at the time, but they had nothing to trade for tea because China just didn't want anything that the UK had. And then the UK was like, well, if we get Chinese people hooked on the opium from India, then we'll always have something to trade for tea and for all the other products they wanted from China. So yeah, they got like a lot of China hooked on opium, and finally the emperor was like, no more. It is now illegal for the British to sell Chinese people opium. And then the British East India Company was like, fuck that, we'll just go to war. So they went to war just to force the Chinese to allow them to keep on selling opium.
And that attitude still, so a lot of the fentanyl today is produced in China.
Yeah.
And there's, from what I've read, there's a sort of attitude about people producing it and sending it to America. That's like, well, they did to us way back when. Like, why should we like stop producing fentanyl and sending it to the United States?
So they're getting their revenge like 100 or a couple hundred years later.
Yeah, it was mentioned. There was an interview done with pharmaceutical companies in China who are just producing tons of fentanyl, and they're like, "Don't you understand that this is causing deaths in America?" And they're like, "Well, marijuana is legal in America. Like they allow certain types of drugs. Like that's probably why people are getting hooked on drugs." It was a crazy thing I saw, but
I did a lot of random drugs in China. I got very lucky that none of them ended up being fentanyl.
Well, I don't think they give any fentanyl. They distribute any fentanyl in China.
Yeah,
they know. They're like.
But I remember being at a party and this guy's like, "Yo, I got some drug from a random Chinese factory. They had some left over.
Jeez.
Do you want to try some?" And being young, dumb, fresh out of college, I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it."
What was it?
It was
like
called
a random fucking drug.
A random powder. It was called MCAT, is what they called it. Or
did you figure out
meow
what it
meow?
Was? Meow meow.
Yeah, meow meow was the street slang for it. But No, I ended up having a pretty good time.
What is-
Chinese drug?
But yes, don't do a random white powder when
What is
someone offers it
meow
to you.
the drug that made a teen cut off his genitals?
Whoa, come on.
What is
I
meow
must have
meow?
been doing the good meow meow.
Yeah, you didn't get the cut off your junk meow meow.
No,
that's
I
a
did
Rolling
not.
Stone article. It's a
Okay.
powerful amphetamine. So
What is the drug scene in China like? Like, are people scared of the government? Like, are they scared to do drugs and shit?
Yeah, I think like Chinese people are very afraid to do drugs, and I don't think it's very rampant. When I first moved there, though, like all the foreigners were doing drugs and doing quite a lot of them. But my last 2 years there, they really started to crack down, and the cops would show up at clubs around 3 a.m. and then close the doors and make all of the foreigners pee in a cup to see if they tested positive for weed, because they were like looking for excuses to kick foreigners out of the country. And then sometimes they would come to a club and actually like shave a patch of hair off of the heads of all the foreigners and test that for drugs. Because like if you smoke weed, that will be in your hair for maybe 3 months. And yeah, if you tested positive, they'd be like, you can go to jail for 2 weeks, or we can just kick you out of the country. And so they have really cracked down. I know someone, I think, who went to jail out there for maybe 5 months. If you ever want to have him on the pod,
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I personally would be curious what it was like to be in Chinese prison.
Yeah, that's not a place I want to be.
It's not a place I'd want to be, but there are countries that I feel like being in prison would be worse. From like, I talked to one person who got caught drinking and driving there and had to go to jail for 10 days. He said it wasn't like, he wasn't getting the shit beat out of him or anything. It was just excruciatingly boring. He's in a cell with 10 guys. You don't have a single thing to read or do. So yeah.
Prison's pretty bad here, man. They have some places with horrible conditions.
You ever watch World's Toughest Prisons?
Yeah, I've seen that.
You should watch that show. Like in Guatemala, like a lot of Central America is in that show. It's crazy.
Yes. Speaking of prisons in South America, have you guys ever read the book Marching Powder? It was about a British cocaine smuggler, and he would do runs from Bolivia to the US. Bolivia to the UK, and he had been doing it for maybe 2 years, was making a lot of money, and he had just bribed someone who worked at the airport to always turn a blind eye. But then that guy at the airport eventually was like, no, I can actually make more money by turning him in. So he turned against him, and he got caught and put into jail called San Pedro Prison in Bolivia. And there's like, it's pretty much its own town in the middle of the capital of Bolivia, where once you're there, it functions as its own place where you need to get a job because you have to pay rent. So if you don't have any money in prison, you're just going to be in like a shitty cell that you share with 10 people. But if you can get a lot of money in jail, then you're staying in like a nice apartment. And so he went to that jail and started selling cocaine, because they would actually make cocaine in the jail. Ended up making a lot of money in jail and got himself like a nice place. He got a girlfriend who like
in jail.
He got a
Dude,
girlfriend.
this is crazy. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
It just looks like a town.
Yeah, it's
like-
a town. So it's walled off, I assume.
Yeah.
But no, he got a girlfriend who was a tourist, I think, who just, because if you go there, you can sign up for like a tour where they just like walk you into the prison. And he met a girl on that tour, and she just like she would come to the country once a month and just live with him in prison, and do a bunch of cocaine. Because once you're in jail, it's like, all right, like I'm not going to get in trouble for doing coke.
Imagine being so much of a snow bunny, you end up in a fucking Bolivian prison.
Dude, it's San Pedro Prison. I highly recommend reading the book. But yeah, so like inside the prison, they have restaurants. And so you actually have to get a job. And so his job was selling cocaine in prison, because they actually use money in there. And it says tourists can still party in there.
That is crazy. How do people not escape? Dress up like, well, probably don't want to leave.
Yeah, they probably don't want to leave.
You don't know You don't want to escape if you don't know you're in a prison.
How to survive. I mean,
That's deep, bro.
that would be a cool ass
society.
tour. Yeah, the world's weirdest jail. So there, it's like if you're in prison and you have a lot of money, it sounds like you can live a pretty nice life in this prison.
Huh. Getting to more
Yeah.
smuggling topics. So, I was on the Border Patrol website and looking at now getting to the U.S. war on drugs. Most of the drugs that come to the United States are through land, which is really interesting. So most of the drugs come through land. A lot of designer drugs come from Canada, whereas more cocaine and marijuana come from Mexico. And
What is a designer drug?
just like LSD, like ketamine,
Probably like ecstasy pills. And
ecstasy pills,
Like genetically
chemistry.
chemical.
yeah, like
chemical
drugs
engineered?
made in a lab, I guess.
Yeah,
Although
and a
most
lot from
drugs are probably
China.
made in labs.
It's a lot of go through from China to
Yeah.
Asian gangs in Canada, then into the United States. But you know what I found out that was really scary? That only 5% of all of the cargo on those cargo carriers, the tankers,
Mhm.
only 5% of any of those big shipping crates, those big steel shipping crates, ever get investigated, ever get scanned and looked through.
And that's probably how most of the drugs are just hidden in those things.
Yeah. So when they know so a lot of the stuff from China, it turns out the biggest smugglers are actually not criminal enterprises, people smuggling drugs, but in reality, the most commonly smuggled items are everyday items one believes to be common and thus causes higher losses in tax revenue. An anonymous shipping agent said that smuggling became second nature to businessmen, taking finished products and misrepresenting them to offer the cheapest possible rate. So what the majority of people do not realize is that the media and popular culture focuses on criminal organization as primary smugglers, but in reality, legitimate businesses are the biggest offenders. So businesses are just smuggling stuff, like all the stuff from Amazon, like, oh, how many AirPods are in this shipping container? Oh, 1,000, but there's really 5,000. Like that's the biggest smuggling being done. I know it's not drugs, but
Yeah.
that whole shipping, like those shipping docks, shipping containers, shipping tankers, like there's a lot of those tankers, and this is what people don't realize. And I was reading on this. I know we were supposed to focus on drug smuggling, but on any of those tankers, when you see them coming in and out of harbors, there's a good chance there is a shipping crate in there filled with people who are either being trafficked or smuggled. And I looked up, there's a difference. There's people smuggling and there's human trafficking is different than people smuggling.
Oh.
What's the difference?
People smuggling is people, like historically the Underground Railroad was people smuggling, getting Jews out of Nazi controlled areas in Europe.
Right,
Was people smuggling.
So is that that's not always a bad thing?
Right.
though.
It's not always
Yeah.
a bad thing, but you know,
But human trafficking
Always
is
bad.
always bad.
human trafficking is always bad.
Right.
So there's then a debate on, especially on the southern border, whether there's a lot of people who are trying to get asylum and find new life, and there's immigration and migration, but the thing is, a lot of those people then become trafficked.
So they go from getting smuggled to getting, and they trust the
Trafficked.
wrong people, and then they get trafficked.
Right. If you're like a young girl,
Right.
or
And so those
Yeah.
people think they're just going to be smuggled across the border,
Yeah.
but then they're smuggled and then
And then
Trafficked
go into
once.
trafficking.
yeah.
they're here.
But
It's one of the biggest
the craziest thing is there's like on those big crates, when only 5% get inspected.
Yeah.
They miss a lot of
They miss
that.
a lot, and they miss a lot of people. And there's stories of people trying to inspect the crates, like putting them through X-rays. And you can look up a shipping container's X-ray, and they see people in them. And sometimes the high seas, lack of water, lack of food, they're just opening up these shipping containers, and there's just a whole bunch of dead people in them.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Like that actually happened. There was there was like an 18-wheeler found in Mexico that was just fit with people died of dehydration and heat exhaustion.
Yeah, because
You know, it's crazy. My buddy used his car. He put his car up on some app to where it's like you could rent it out. And I forget what the app was called. And so he rented it out. He left town for the weekend. He rented it out, came back. This was in Houston. Came back, and the dude had no contact with him. He was like, "Did this fucker steal my car?" And so he got a letter from the Department of, what was it? I think it was the border patrol, saying that his car had been confiscated. I guess the dude that rented his car drove down to Mexico and picked up people and was bringing them back to the U.S. and they caught him in customs, and they confiscated his car. So he had to go through this whole like legal process to get his car back. Shit is crazy.
Yeah. So when we were talking about those, most of the drugs come in through land. So a lot of what the cartel does is to transport drugs. Traffickers primarily use commercial trucks and privately owned and rental vehicles equipped with hidden compartments and natural voids in the vehicles. So they're renting a lot of cars to do these runs because they don't pick up, like they have American license plates. They don't have Mexican plates. They're a little more inconspicuous. And that's not some of the crazy, and a lot of these vehicles are hollowed out to smuggle the drugs, like wheel wells, gas. A lot of people do gas tanks, and the Homeland Security, you know, when they scan these cars and they see that the gas tank, something's obstructed in it, they know that they have to open up the gas tank. The only way to get in is with a blowtorch. But if you have gas in the gas tank and try to open up with a blowtorch, it just blows up in your face. So it's very hard to actually search those vehicles.
It's crazy. They've tried just about everything in terms of smuggling. They've done it in food.
Yeah.
There's probably nothing that they haven't tried.
So here's some of the crazier ones. El Chapo is famous for smuggling drugs in through food. That's what his big claim to fame. So like when you saw those pictures of the fake carrots that were just wrapped up cocaine, or the avocados that were weed.
The carrots though, so those weren't like actual carrots. Wasn't it just
Some
like
of them.
orange tape that they
Yeah, but gourds and watermelons, they actually hollow out.
Yeah. Coconuts.
They do all sorts of stuff. But he actually so El Chapo opened a cannery in Guadalajara and began producing thousands of cans of stamped comadre jalapenos, stuffing them with cocaine. And he was vacuum sealing them and shipping them to Mexican-owned grocery stores in California. So he was shipping Mexican, like Mexican branded stuff to Mexican groceries, and just there was tons of drugs in them. And he was using official canneries and food processing plants that he owns to ship them. And that's like crazy.
Now, would the cans only have cocaine in them, or would they be like a mix of jalapenos with a bag of cocaine in it
I think
as
there's
well?
like bags of cocaines in the jalapenos.
All right.
But that's not even the craziest ways. So there was the tamales. This one man was carrying in the George Bush airport, was carrying 9 bags holding 7 ounces of cocaine hidden inside tamales. We're in a box of 200 tamales the traveler was bringing through. There's 3 pounds of meth hidden in a hollowed out tortilla. So this was a really cool one. So guys were using catapults to catapult drugs. And here I have a video for you guys that hopefully you can put on YouTube.
While you look it up, this was lit. A Nigerian man flying from Brazil to the city of Lagos in his home country was stopped upon arrival for bringing roasted chickens on the plane. The problem wasn't the birds in question, but rather their stuffing, which turned out to be $150,000 worth of cocaine. My man stuffed chickens, bruh.
Yeah. So
I feel like bringing that many roasted chickens on a plane is gonna arise suspicions,
right?
Of it.
Yeah. So the cartel use a lot of fish. They wrap their cocaine in fish because they complain to the inspectors like, hey, this is fresh fish. Like, don't hold us up. We're just trying to move fish. It's going to go bad if you keep us here too long. And that's another one of their methods. But the thing is, there's so much money in this that it doesn't matter. The cartel is so much. So they actually had European engineers that they hired to construct super tunnels under the border with electric lights, motorized carts, ventilation systems that crisscross the U.S. border like veins. They had escape routes, and they tunneled directly to big warehouses on the other side of the border in Arizona, straight from drug dealer places. And the Border Patrol has to find these and fill them with concrete, but a lot of them are undetectable because they're so well built, because they're hiring like actual engineers from all sorts of places and paying them millions of dollars to construct these because they're making billions on what they can get through there.
Yeah. That sounds like the easiest way if you just have a tunnel.
Yeah, like they're getting qualified engineers. Like if you're an engineer and, you know, someone shows up with an absolute bag.
Yeah, because they're not going to arrest the engineer, right? They'll probably, if anyone gets in trouble, it'll be the cartel or the people who are inside the tunnels.
I mean, a lot of drug smugglers bought whole islands to fly planes into the U.S. with.
Yep.
And some of them even flew 747s.
That's where Firefest was going to be. It was supposed to be on one of the islands that Pablo Escobar's cartel used to use.
These guys even have submarines. And I know this video circulated a lot a couple years ago, but these guys have $1 million submarines they're using to transport cocaine and other narcotics. And there's this awesome video of the U.S. Coast Guard storming a narco submarine. And this was actually in the Pacific Ocean. I think it was going up the
Baja Peninsula.
Yeah, the Baja Peninsula. Check this out. It is insane. It's a adrenaline-inducing movie.
Some of these tunnels are insane. Some of them stretched over 4,000 feet. They found one that was the passageway connected an industrial site in Mexican city of Tijuana to San Diego area of California. That's insane.
Big T, what do you think we should do to drug smugglers?
I mean, right to jail right away.
Right to jail. Right away.
What if it's just marijuana?
Jail.
The guest on this interview is not going to like that.
Not very libertarian of you, brother.
There is a difference between like smoking weed at your house and bringing in hundreds of thousands of pounds of it. Granted, you can't have one without the other, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you mean?
I don't know. I don't have a solution to that. I think it would be better if we didn't have people bringing drugs into this country.
The crazy thing is, in a lot of the legalized states, there is still
a shit take.
Why?
Because it doesn't go with your worldview.
Why not?
You're a libertarian, correct?
Kind of.
A libertarian, but you believe in strong borders?
Currently, as like, if you told, there's going to be weed in this country no matter what. So like, if you're like, people want to smoke weed at their house, whatever. I don't really give a shit. But like, if you're like, can we have drugs being brought into this country or not? I would choose not.
Yeah.
Shit take.
Yeah, I think that's a shit take. But I mean, yeah, I almost feel like if they made a lot of these drugs just legal, it would solve more problems than it would create.
It would have, I don't 100%, but it would eliminate the majority of the criminality of it.
The economy,
and you wouldn't have people overdosing on
Yeah.
fentanyl, because you could actually, if you really wanted to do cocaine, you could get it from a source where you at least know what you're getting.
Think about how expensive
100%.
that. So actually, The Economist came out with an article saying that Biden should legalize cocaine to win the election. To, number one, destabilize and stop funding the cartel, to make cocaine better, cleaner, more accessible, safer. I mean, more accessible, I'm not too sure, but I wrote a blog on it that
easily accessible.
That Nate Dogg, and you guys can go harass him, didn't post because he thought I was saying that we should legalize cocaine and Barstool, but it was literally The Economist writing about legalizing cocaine.
Wait.
I think we should legalize cocaine.
Wait,
I do.
I talked to Nate about that. He said he wasn't going to let you sell a shirt that said legalize cocaine, but he didn't post the blog.
He didn't post the blog.
Okay, he told me that he just wasn't going to let you sell the shirt, which I guess that's fair. Like I don't think.
I got that.
Okay.
I mean, the legalized.
Did you submit a legalized cocaine shirt?
Yeah.
I got a sick legalized cocaine shirt that said that was like I was making fun of The Economist, and it was legalized cocaine in The
What
Economist
percentage
logo.
of the people who see that shirt do you think knew that?
And how many
It's
people
economical.
Over
wear
under
that?
5.
You know what? We all try to create merch. We all try to see what
Yes.
sells. It was going viral, and I was posting it back when it was live. I was posting it under all of the comments because they were all going viral, and there are people cocaine, like, do whatever you want. Cocaine's very risky, but there's a lot of people who wear legalized cocaine shirts. Like, have you ever been to a frat party?
No.
I haven't been in a while, but when I was in college, there weren't a lot of legalized cocaine shirts.
They're funny shirts.
I was at a frat party or two in my day, and I never saw like a legalized cocaine shirt. I just saw, people just did the cocaine.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
they
think
just kind of
That was their shirt.
Yeah, there was really no shirt. It was just kind of like, I'm just gonna do it.
It's a shirt that you see,
I
you
feel
see
like
a
wearing
lot.
that
I don't do
shirt-
cocaine.
I don't do cocaine.
I feel like wearing that shirt is just attracting unwanted attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like if
but
you get
it was
pulled
funny.
over and you're wearing a legalized cocaine shirt.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah.
18
But
to
no,
22-year-old boys.
I do think you should be able to post that blog though.
Yeah, the blog never got posted. I understand the T-shirt.
The T-shirt, yeah.
But
The
then-
blog, okay.
Because we got in trouble for having an Adderall diet shirt on sale that was in the Barstool store a while ago. And people were like, "Why are you guys advertising that?"
I totally understand that. But the blog never went up. It was going super viral, like amongst a bunch of places. If the blog had gotten posted, it would have got tons of views. So some are saying that Nate is robbing the company of money. But nevertheless, I divulge.
Yeah.
Digress.
So yeah, other ways, submarines. So this one's big in prisons nowadays is drones. Drones are dropping off, and with the cartel, there's tons of drones dropping off because they used to use animals because it was a non-communicable
you could
pigeons.
use. Yeah.
This in prisons still use cats.
Yeah.
Cats are a good smuggle because they move very stealthily.
But I feel like pigeons are better because you can train a pigeon to fly to like a certain place. A cat, if you tie some drugs to it, you have no idea if the cat's going to make it to its final destination.
Well, I think how they do it is they put 2 feeding stations, one during the day, one at night. The prisoners feed it at night, and then someone goes out and feeds it during the day.
Ah, okay.
And then it knows to go to those 2 places
All right.
at some point. And then it's got little drugs.
That
We
makes
haven't even
sense.
got into human mules.
Yeah.
Because that's some of the crazy shit.
Did you guys see that movie when it came out? Mule with Clint Eastwood?
No, I didn't.
That
Was it
movie is
good?
hilarious.
It's a comedy?
No.
Okay.
It's if you don't know what it is, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. It came out like 3 years ago about Clint Eastwood at his ripe age of like 99 years old being a drug mule for the Mexican cartel. And in it, it's a old John Mulaney joke, but he has 2 threesomes as like a 90-year-old. And the whole thing is like Clint Eastwood just makes movies, so it's like old guy self can, and they
Yeah.
show the threesomes, but it's about him like smuggling. I think it's coke.
He's 2-3.
He has 2,
I
not
don't
one.
think I'd even
2
want to have a
threesomes.
threesome at that age.
Yeah, but it's
That's
him and
you
like
could
Andy
die.
Garcia, and Andy Garcia
Why not?
is his boss in the cartel, and it's about Clint Eastwood
could
being
die.
a human mule.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a way to go out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's like isn't like didn't Matthew McConaughey's dad go out having sex?
Yes.
Isn't that a thing? Yeah.
With his
Okay.
mother.
It happens a lot because a lot of the motherfuckers be taking that Cialis and Viagra
Viagra.
shit, and
Yeah.
it's not good.
That
It's
That
not good
stuff
for the.
can probably kill you when you're 90.
But Clint
Um,
Eastwood had a whole movie about being a human drug mule.
I'm sure there's actually Viagra smugglers out there.
Oh, so Viagra is the top passed off pill to try to sell different types of drugs.
Really?
In Bulgaria, they stopped a shipment of I think it was fentanyl or another designer drug that was stamped to look exactly with Pfizer on it to look exactly like Viagra.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I assume if you get caught trying to smuggle Viagra, the penalties aren't as high if you're trying to smuggle like fentanyl.
Yeah.
I was seeing that there's a lot of like shipping containers just filled with pieces of wood, 2x4s and stuff, and then those woods will just be completely hollowed out and filled with cocaine.
Basically any type of stuff. Like another one was liquid cocaine in baby formula, which actually I think killed a child at one point.
Jeez.
Yeah, because one of them didn't get sold as to the coke dealer and ended up killing.
Yeah.
And then another one is sometimes the cocaine can be mixed with a type of not concrete, but some sort of like porcelain, and then you can a lot of tiles.
Thought you have to go back into an ad, dog.
A lot of cocaine can be mixed with. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, false bottoms, you name it, like they're getting it in anyway, anyhow.
The most famous false bottom of all time was Jurassic Park with the shaving cream, where he had all the DNA at the bottom of it. That was the most famous false bottom of all time, dog.
I really wanted one of those.
Yeah, me too as a kid. But there's this one in college. There used to be cats, who, because the liquor store closed on Sunday, and so cats would like buy a whole bunch of liquor, and then on Sundays they'd be like, okay, we're selling this because you're gonna party on Sunday anyway. So like people used to go to their house and buy a whole bunch of liquor. And they used to double the price, but there was no other liquor around, so like it was a good little hustle.
It's a great hustle.
Chick-fil-A, doing that with Chick-fil-A also.
Doing what?
Nobody wants cold chicken sandwich. Dale ass fries.
So getting to human mules, and this gets a little graphic, but actually, really quick, wildlife smuggling developed in hand in hand with narcotic smuggling, because a lot of people were smuggling super endangered animals, expensive snakes, Komodo dragons, turtles. Florida's exotic scene was hand in hand with the wildlife scene, because a lot of these drug dealers would also buy tigers and buy iguanas, and they wanted expensive things because they had so much money and they just wanted to show it off in some way. But what a lot of wildlife smugglers would do is they would sew drugs into different snakes, tortoises, not the expensive ones, but then when they got caught, it would be like, oh, sorry, I have all this wildlife strapped to me, these cockatoos, these parrots, like you can take them, and then you get a small fine, not a serious sentence, but then you don't get caught for drug smuggling. And they just assume that there's nothing in the animals. And if they end up dying, like one guy had 226 snakes filled with cocaine in a truck. And basically the snakes got, what usually would happen is the animals would get detained. Not detained. What's seized? The animals would get seized.
Detained.
The snake you can't handcuff a snake.
Got read their Miranda rights.
How'd you handcuff a snake?
You'd have to tie it like a knot, maybe.
Then what would happen is they'd all just die, and then they just throw them out. But one of these instances, and guys were just keeping smuggling and like not expensive snakes. Now they're just smuggling boa constrictors that were just big, not expensive, that you could even get in the U.S. and just filling them with cocaine.
Where do you get a boa constrictor? That's like, where do you acquire
That's
one?
smart.
Multiple places.
Can you
I have no
enlighten?
idea. I hate
me?
snakes.
There's a lot of snake
You want a
breeders.
snake, Maddie?
No, I'm curious as to like where you just Billy's acting like, again, you can just go to a PetSmart and get a boa constrictor.
Well, if
Can you?
so,
I don't know.
Florida, this wildlife trade.
Okay, Florida doesn't count.
No, but this wildlife trade led to these giant snakes, which a lot of the times were being used to smuggle cocaine, to then get released into the wild. And there's a huge problem in the Everglades with these gigantic snakes, because people are either keeping them as pets, they're getting smuggled in, and a lot of, because boa constrictors can swallow big things, they were just putting these big baggies of cocaine into their mouths that they'd swallow whole like an egg. They would be wrapped enough that their bodily, their acids in their stomach couldn't get through what they wrapped it with, and then they just poop out gigantic bales of cocaine.
You know, it's crazy. I knew somebody in high school who used to sell, and he got pulled over by the police, and I think it was like an 8-ball. That's the story we got around. But it was a lot of cocaine, and he swallowed it, got pulled over, and it was just in a baggie, and it dissolved, the acid dissolved in the stomach, and he OD'd off that shit. He died. Crazy.
Jesus. Well, that's what happens to a lot of drug mules. So there's various ways that people can smuggle drugs. Usually either going in through the top of your digestive system or trying to sneak it in the back of your digestive system.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's in prison.
Yeah. That's so. A lot of the drugs that get into prison end up getting booty tobacco, because that's tobacco is one that's smuggled, but they call it booty tobacco. But yeah, that's crazy.
Booty tobacco is the name of it?
I think it's booty tobacco. I don't even know. That's just one of the, but in one instance, mules who either are swallowing wrapped up drugs that they then regurgitate or come out the other side, depending on how soon it happens.
Don't you put them in like a condom so you can like get them out?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it doesn't burst and kill you.
Yeah, because condoms very durable.
Very durable, yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's go into our condom sponsor.
So if you're looking to smuggle drugs,
use Trojan.
Whether you're smuggling drugs or just in love.
Well, on Nano, we talked about
Trojan
making our own
horses.
condom.
oh yeah, we did.
You did?
Super
That
tight
would
condom.
be dope.
Yeah, for
So you can swim in the
Just-
Amazon
it's
River.
Okay.
we're marketing an extra small condom specifically for when you're swimming in the Amazon River, so the fish don't swim up. Not for any other reason.
Yeah, because there's that fish there that swims up your penis hole. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of other things in those waters that can kill you too. So maybe just don't swim in the Amazon.
But this is the craziest mule story. A lot of drug mules are given implants that are filled with cocaine.
Like
Breast implants?
Yep.
no.
Yep. Do you want to see a picture?
Wait, male guys?
Females
Oh, okay.
are being smuggled with implants.
No way.
So like, I don't know. Like if you had someone with really bad implants, like, and you saw them on a plane,
you'd be like, that's cocaine in there.
hypothetically,
A lumpy boob, that's cocaine.
But you're also
Man.
you're also not
But
allowed
do
to
you
just go
have
up and grab
coke
a
in your
woman's tits. To
No.
like that'd
Yeah.
be very invasive. So
Not
they better have cocaine in those
Right.
boobs
Not-
if you're gonna
not-
if you're gonna feel her up, or else
Right.
she's gonna sue you.
not to monopolize the boob on this podcast, but as the only
Go
owner,
ahead.
but as the only owner, I feel like if you can tell, a lot of the times you can tell when someone has a boob job, but if you see a lumpy boob, like that would, I don't know what it would even look like to have a cocaine filled boob. Like I can't even understand how painful that would be.
yeah.
I can understand
Hey,
because
do women still shame that?
Boob
Maddie?
jobs? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I thought it's more
Or I
accepted
don't.
because it used to be like, oh, bimbo, but now it's like it
If
is
you-
what it is. They look good.
Now it's like if you want to do something to make yourself feel better. I mean, that's the same thing with like any plastic surgery now, like lip fillers or Botox. Like if you want to do it to make yourself feel better, like be my guest. I'm thinking about
I'm
certain,
against BBLs though. I'm
Yeah.
against BBLs.
I'm thinking about certain plastic
The big
surgery.
lips?
No.
The Brazilian butt.
Oh,
Why?
I'm not-
Brazilian butt lift.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen one that looks good, bro. Like I haven't seen one, and this is just one man's opinion. Ladies, if you want to do that shit, by all means, put that shit in your ass. That's what's up. But me, it's just me, and I'm not even that attractive as a human being. I will preface it with that. But I ain't seen one that look good. They all look weird. They look very unnatural, and the thighs never match the cakes.
I think that's
all I'm
kind
saying
of
about that.
part of the look though. Is
I
because
s-
it just makes it look bigger.
So I met somebody
Trash.
who had to maintain this operation, and tons of saline injections are required
For a BBL,
to fill in the
gaps.
gaps, but like routinely, so it doesn't, the cellulite
Because if you don't do that, it will start to get
Like,
lumpy.
yeah,
And,
you
Yeah.
want to keep the balloon pumped.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like a silicone implant. So it's not gonna have that smooth look unless you maintain it.
Real fat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
So
never really sitting on anything. That's weird.
But then isn't there such thing as just like an actual ass implant
You can
too?
get an actual ass implant, but it's the same thing as a boob job, where it's like you're putting a large silicone implant in your ass, whereas a BBL, they take fat from another part of your body and implant it in, so it's almost like doubled up.
We should do an episode on
Double
plastic
cheeked up.
surgery.
I would actually
Yeah.
be really interested in it.
I've been horrified just because there was the story of a lady who got an ass implant in Brazil and the guy injected her ass with like liquid cement.
Yeah, you can do
or
anything.
something
There's
like
no
that.
rules. Well, that's the whole thing. It's like it's not like a lot of the times you kind of go to a sketchy surgeon, and
Yeah.
unless you're going to like Dr.
Yeah,
Miami.
Bruh, there was a story about this girl went viral recently. This John, I got a BBL, or thought so anyway. She went under and she woke up and her fucking kidney was missing.
Oh God.
Dog, just one kidney for the rest of her life because she wanted to be a little more sexy. That shit's like, if you're gonna get a BBL, don't go the cheap route, dog.
No.
Go to Miami.
Get what you pay for.
Get Dr. Miami.
Get a certified
name?
doctor that has reviews and an office and other clients that can attest to his work. Don't go to Mexico. Don't go to Brazil. That shit is not worth it, dog.
Airplanes, mattresses, and plastic surgery. Spend the money.
Belts as well. Belts.
That's a good one.
Really? I have a really cheap belt on right
Yeah,
now,
me
but like
too.
it gets the job done. So I'm not like super picky about them.
If you've ever had like a really good belt, you'll know the difference.
All right.
I'm not shaming cheap belts. I'm
Okay.
not shaming most cheap things. I'm just saying in a lot of instances you get what you pay for.
Designer or
Belts is
just-
one and BBLs is definitely
Are
one.
you talking about like quality material, leather, sturdy?
quality, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I actually,
it doesn't necessarily have to be designer, but a lot of high end
yeah.
brands have really good belts. Like I have a belt that I've had for I think 15 years now, and it's still like, I don't wear pants like that, but they be cracking. Be holding up
Yeah.
the trousers.
No, plastic surgery though has a very different light on it now. Like I'm heavily considering a certain plastic surgery.
Well, you know,
Which one? You don't have to talk about it.
I think people would get mad on here.
Okay.
Certain groups on the internet would get mad if I talked about what. I'll tell you guys later about what
Yeah.
surgery
well,
I would be
I mean,
interested
the
in.
thing is, a lot of people aren't comfortable in themselves, and it's because of what's going on with their mental health. And
Speak on it, Billy.
mental health is really important, and that's
Speak on
why
it.
That's what I'm talking about.
You-
That was what I'm talking about, bro. Yes.
that is why we should get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. It can be tough to train your brain to stay in problem-solving mode when faced with a challenge in life. But when you learn how to find your own solution, there's no better feeling. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. So, therapy is important. A lot of people go through things that they can't really deal with. I know people who've gone to therapy. It's helped them a lot. I've been to therapy. Going to therapy is always a good idea. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. Get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists at any time. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/dose today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/dose.
Yes,
Do you
that
want-
was good, Billy.
Good job,
Yes.
Billy.
That was great.
Do you want to get into our interview?
Yeah, and now for our interview.
I do want to preface the interview. We were told he could only stay for a half hour, so it might feel a little rushed. And then afterwards, we realized maybe he could have stayed. I don't know. It was a little confusing at the end, but it was a great interview, and we hope to have him back when PFT is here, and so we can continue the conversation.
Yeah. But now we'll get to our interview and have fun.
Well, welcome to Macrodosing. We're welcoming on Randy Lanier, a guy with an amazing story, weed, speed, and all sorts of stuff. So thank you for coming on, Randy.
Thank you. A lot of weed and a lot of speed.
But he wasn't selling speed. You were only selling weed.
No, I was driving speed,
Yes,
selling
yes.
weed.
Yes, that's how it goes. So now, when you were in the midst of your drug smuggling days, was marijuana the only drug that you were dealing with?
Yes, I'm a smuggler of weed.
And that is like, yeah, it's almost not even considered a drug anymore. So yeah.
I did bring in one load of some coke, but that was the worst mistake I've done, and not a coke dealer.
What was the difference in, the whole, because everyone's heard about the Miami coke smuggling scene and how that was like, Scarface type stuff. Was the weed smuggling business like chiller to
The weed smuggling business is 100-fold chiller.
Yeah, I mean,
like I told you, I tried to do a load of coke one time and I gave it all back. I didn't want to deal with the people, didn't want to deal with the whole attitude. So I stuck with the weed.
Wow.
So for those who don't know your story, and for some of the listeners, how would you describe your journey to this point, in this moment, what you've been through, just so everyone can sort of get a little bit of taste of what the book entails and everything?
So it started back when I was a youngster. I've been burning weed for 53 years, selling weed for just as much until the penitentiary caught up with me in the U.S. government. So started smuggling weed when I was 19, running loads in from the Bahamas, and gradually just expanded. Things evolved. In any entrepreneur, you figure out ways to make things better and grow your business, and that's kind of path that I was on.
But so your first love though was racing, right? And cars.
Well, I was a late bloomer in racing.
Okay.
I was a smuggler before I was racing.
Okay.
But from smuggling, and I took up the hobby of racing, I figured out I can kind of finance my racing career through my smuggling.
All right.
So being a professional race car driver and a drug smuggler, what does a day look like in terms of time wise? Because I would think being a race car driver requires quite a bit of your time, but you also have this other thing that you're doing there that would also seemingly require just as much.
So first I was a hobbyist at racing. I joined a sports car club, SCCA, Sports Car Club of America. So it was a hobby on the weekends, and I was distributing and importing loads from other smugglers. And then as my ambition started to grow in racing, I got a ride with a Ferrari team in Europe, went to Europe, came back, started getting other rides with pro teams. And I had some mishaps with some teams that didn't have the financial ability to keep the parts they needed. We did a DNF. I did not finish at the Miami Grand Prix. And I done rented all this Everglades Hotel suites and lots of people and family invited to catered events I got going on, and the car broke down, so I didn't get to run it. I'm sitting in the pits, and it's my hometown with all my friends and guests and family. So I said, you know what, it's time for me to figure out my own team. So I kind of put my own team together, and so a day would look like, as far as the smuggling and the racing, if I'm not at a racetrack, at the race shop, I'm at a boat yard somewhere.
Yeah.
It was busy.
So you'd be personally on the boat and take it to the Bahamas?
No, I had when I was young, when I started doing it, I ran the loads in myself.
Wow. So was it just you on the boat, or would you usually have a couple friends?
Myself and one or two other people.
Yeah, and then you would leave from Florida, go down to the Bahamas?
Fort Lauderdale to Miami, and shoot over to the Bahamas and meet a mothership, put it on my vessel, and come on back.
How easy was it back then compared to now? Like doing that, you were 19 years old. I saw you bought an 18K boat and was using it to run to and from the Bahamas.
Right.
And what was the main difference you say between now and then, be it in naval
Homeland Security.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The police.
Yeah.
So back then they didn't have all the global positioning. They had something called sat nav, where you could the sats would come around and you could get a positioning on your radar and kind of figure out things, where you are and where you have to go and who you have to meet. But as far as it being easy, it's never easy because a lot of times things happen. You have to improvise, whether boats break down. Are you worried about a police agency such as the Bahamian Police or the DEA, the FBI, the Marine Patrol that patrols the water? So it's never easy. And but versus back then it was a whole lot easier than it would be now.
What do you think about the weed back then compared to the weed now? Because we have a bunch of conversations on this show about how we need to bring back mids because the weed is just way too strong nowadays.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I like good weed. I love organically sun-grown weed. That's really fire. And the indoor hybrid weed right now that they're trying to put diamonds and crumbles and different extracts into it, I'm not a fan of. I like flower.
Yeah.
I just like straight good flower.
Not a fan of the gummies.
No, I don't eat gummies.
Okay, yeah, that's probably smart.
I tell you, I'm in LA. I'm getting ready to get on an airplane with my son. First time my son was 7 days old when I went to prison.
Yeah.
I come out and he's a gym guy, 27 years old, and all about the gym. And so first time him and I travel, we've been out in LA for a few days, and I'm at the airport, and we both get a bag of gummies, 150 milligrams each.
Yeah. Geez.
Well, he's eating his gummies, and I see he eat the whole bag.
Oh my God.
Well, he's got a tolerance.
Yeah.
So I said, well, shit, you eating that whole bag? He said, no, Pop, Dad, don't eat the bag. I ate about half of it. Worst thing I've ever done. Look, I didn't think I could get on the friggin' plane. I'm sitting there waiting. They called my flight, and I told my son, I don't think I can get on this plane. I'm sweating, sweat's rolling off of me.
Yeah, no. I know people who have had to go to the hospital for that.
I quit eating gummies.
That's crazy that we've gotten to the point where someone who was so involved in the early stages of the marijuana business and talking about legal marijuana now, what you were doing back then did lay a groundwork in some way for weed culture and it's
amazing itself. The supply and demand. As I was bringing it in, I was bringing in loads, my own loads. I started with the 68. I started with the 27-foot, bringing in loads of other smugglers. And getting involved with a lot of other smugglers and personalities is strange.
Yeah.
And I had something happen where I lost a load. And it didn't go over well with the smuggler that I got the load from or his boat captain.
Yeah.
And after that fiasco, I decided, you know what, I'm picking up a boat and doing it myself. So I bought a 68-footer and started doing it myself. And that was much easier, much more chill because it was myself and all my friends.
Yeah.
And we didn't carry weapons or anything. We're just a lot of potheads that found a way to make funds to get us on our way to what we wanted to accomplish.
I was reading that the first big shipment that you did on your own and that barge that you bought, that came in through New York, right? Was that at the Brooklyn Navy Yard?
I brought in 110,000 pounds. I brought a couple loads here in New York City.
Yeah.
And I brought in 110,000 pound on a 300-foot barge with a 150-foot tugboat, and I brought it first up to Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yeah.
I had already brought a 35,000 pound load on my tugboat, on the 150-foot tugboat, about several months before that. So now I got the barge and the tugboat. But it ended up that I was being watched by a police department. Don't know which one. It's just I had people driving around the neighborhood with these Bearcat scanners, and at a certain time I had them go into the yard that I had rented across from the Sikorsky helicopter factory in Bridgeport.
I know that place well.
And as soon as they opened the gates and go in, they said suspect entering compound. So they called their bosses, and their boss called me, and I said, well, all right, thanks for the information. So I had to move the vessel, and I brought it to a boat yard here in New Jersey, pulled it out of the water for a month with 110,000 pounds. It sat there until I found the spot, which was the abandoned Brooklyn Naval Yards. The year was 1983.
Yeah. Now that whole area has been redeveloped, and it's actually pretty nice, but back then it was just... It was pretty abandoned.
Well, right now it was pretty abandoned in a perfect spot for a smuggler.
Yeah.
Quick question: when that's a lot of weight you were moving, and did you have to have any sort of paperwork? Like, what did you say you were moving, if you even had to?
So we did it through. We'd bring after I'd load the barge, and let's say I would I have the crew tug it to Venezuela and put cement, pre-bags Venezuelan cement. Then we would pull the boat to Santo Domingo. There, I would have a charter company bring in a whole fresh crew, captain and crew, to bring in the material that we had, whether it was Brazilian wood, Brazilian nuts, Venezuelan cement. So I have a manifest, and I'd have a whole brand new crew that wasn't part of my operation. They did not know weed was on board that vessel.
Oh, okay.
So they would bring that boat in and clear customs.
All right. Probably for the best. Because,
Well, they wouldn't be nervous.
Yeah.
See, they come on and take your passports,
Yeah.
and they say you cannot come ashore.
Yeah.
So if you know you got 110,000 pounds or 150,000 pounds, you're going to probably be nervous.
You're very
And
nervous.
they pick up on that.
Yeah.
So we used a crew that didn't know. There was a legit crew.
Yeah.
So when you were swapping out, so would you actually put bags of concrete then swap it out at some point?
No, we'd buy the concrete and wholesale it out to every lumber company we could sell it to.
So you were making money just off the cover for the weed as well, or was it a sunk
I gave that
cost?
to my partner.
Yeah.
I just look. You get rid of the cement and
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Brazilian wood, and that's yours.
Would you have to put the weed in like the bag cement, or
No, I put the 300-foot barge, 7 stories high. We took halfway down, we welded 3/4-inch steel and made a false bottom. And we put salt water. See, to build the balance on the barges all the way down. So when they are riding through the ocean, if they don't have a load, they pump salt water to create balance. If they have a load, 1 million pounds or something, they'll pump water out. So we took the ballast and welded 3/4-inch steel, made a hidden compartment. When I got to Colombia, I cut it open with we cut it open with torches and loaded the weed inside the ballast underneath all the salt water. So when I came in customs, if they wanted to check the ballast, they'd pump out some salt water and go, yeah, it's salt water.
Yeah. Having no idea that all the
Having
weed's
no
in there
idea
too.
that down below there's 170,000 pounds of weed.
how are you laundering the money? Because you were dealing with so much. Was it all cash? You could just get
All
away
cash.
with it.
Okay, look,
Yeah.
cash, man.
Yeah.
Cash is king.
Yeah.
So have you watched shows like Breaking Bad and Ozark and stuff like that? And how
Yeah, I watched that in penitentiary on layover coming back from a hip operation, and they had put me into Oklahoma. They have a big center at the Oklahoma airport, and that's a transfer center. And I got stuck there for about a week. So first time they let me in population because I was maximum security, what they call a 2-hour watch, high accountability. I was escape risk. So for 18 years, I had to they wanted me to wear it around my neck, but I just stuck in my pocket a big orange card with my face and my number on it. Every 2 hours, I had to go find an officer and say, hey, can you call me into control unit? He looked at me and he says, hey, this officer so shithead, I got a visual on Lanier. He's here in the law library of the rec room.
Wow.
And every 2 hours in the weekdays, every 1 hour on the weekends, every 1 hour on the holidays, and every 1 hour after 4 p.m., I had to report to an officer for 18 years.
So reading in your book, we saw that the place they put you were put with the likes of John Gotti. Am I correct in saying that? And also some Al-Qaeda operatives in the 90s?
Yeah, when I first went in, I was in a medium security for about a year, and then I picked up a escape investigation, and then that got me sent to maximum securities.
Were you actually planning your escape?
Look, when I went in, I was 33 years old, $100 million in my pocket, accounts from Switzerland to Zurich to Geneva to Liechtenstein to Luxembourg. So I was kind of full of myself, and I figured if the courts couldn't get me out, I'd get myself out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was plotting and planning.
Because you had a friend who escaped from jail using a helicopter, or at least he tried. It failed.
I had a co-defendant that tried to escape from a helicopter, but I had a friend that escaped from a medium security in Talladega, Alabama, through a false wall of a vegetable truck.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did they ever catch him again, or
Yeah, they caught him several years later. He was smuggling.
Oh, again?
He went back to it.
He went back to it.
Yeah, it's probably hard to find a legit job once you escape from prison.
No, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for those who don't know, you were sentenced to life without parole with 2 concurrent or non-concurring sentences.
I was sentenced to my first count.
Mm-hmm.
I was sentenced to natural death, life
Oh
without
my
parole.
God.
Count 2,
Yeah.
I was sentenced to 40 years for conspiracy to distribute marijuana. The problem what we got here is that it's a flower.
Yeah.
And my first count was I was charged with running a criminal enterprise that imported and distributed a Scheduled 1 narcotic.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
My second charge, conspiracy to distribute over 1,000 pounds of a Scheduled 1 narcotic, marijuana.
Yeah.
And I got life in 40 years.
And marijuana has never killed anyone.
It's ridiculous.
It's literally impossible to overdose on marijuana.
And that's where they get, like, you got Biden that just recently,
yeah.
everybody's read that he's gonna pardon all the simple possession cases.
Yes.
There's not a single simple possession case in federal custody at all. That's smoke and mirrors. Now, the states have some simple possession cases, the states, but he cannot pardon those people. That's why you see him in his speech, he urged the states to file a suit.
Yeah.
There's not one prisoner that's coming out of tens of thousands, marijuana prisoners, that's coming out of prison due to what he said about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Because those prisoners are there for trafficking?
They're in there for a simple word. Possession with intent to distribute, possession with intent to traffic, possession with intent to sell, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an intent. You don't even have to do it. I have a couple that got caught with 50 pounds of weed, a husband and wife. She's pregnant. They arrest them, don't give them bond. She's pregnant. She has the baby in the county jail. They take the baby from her and want to put the baby in foster care. So they have to go through the courts to get the brother to raise the baby. She got 6 years. He got 5 years. And the husband just came out 30 days ago.
Jeez.
And she is still in with 1 more year to do for 50 pounds of weed.
Yeah.
Look, there's companies out here right now selling thousands of pounds every week.
Mm-hmm.
And there's companies, these corporate companies are making $300 million every quarter.
Yeah.
$300 million every quarter. But
the
yet,
U.S. government, too, because they're getting all the taxes from it.
Absolutely. But yet, if you get caught with 50 pounds, you're going to jail for 5 to 10 years. It makes no sense. So I have a nonprofit organization called freedomgrow.org.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all about cannabis prisoners. We've got like a multitude of programs. If you're a cannabis prisoner and you register with us, we vet you. We go through your case, make sure you're a nonviolent cannabis prisoner. And if it's your birthday, your mother's birthday, your grandfather's birthday, your children's, your grandchildren, you just let us know what you want and we make it happen. Whether it's one single rose, I get one guy's for the last 8 years been wanting a single yellow rose on Mother's Day. Every holiday we do gifting. Every birthday and every holiday we do gifting for these families. Because one thing about when you lock up a person, you're actually incarcerating the family. Because the separation is just trauma city.
Yeah.
It's sad because maybe the person was the breadwinner, or the dad that's raising young kids, and now you got a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that this is still happening. Just yesterday, I did a family here in Florida. We're gifting them. We paired up with AYR Wellness. It's a big MSO, and they have really stepped up to the plate. They're granting grants to help these families that are going through hardships and struggles while their husband or father or somebody in the family is locked up for cannabis. And the company that the nonprofit's called freedomgrow.org. If you haven't heard of it, check it out.
We will.
Thank you.
And so you were released from prison under the Obama administration. Is that because they were trying to relax a little bit on?
So I was released
cracking
under the
down?
Obama administration, and
Yeah.
he had passed down a directive to the U.S. Justice Department to look at the nonviolent first-time offenders that are doing long, lengthy prison sentences. So I fell right into that category.
That's pretty it's surprising for me, who just consumes media when it comes to drug smuggling, and the fact that you were able to do this with still being a non-violent offender. I mean, I like all the stories of cocaine smuggling.
It's weed.
Yeah, I know it's weed. I think that's something that
Smoke a joint.
Yeah.
You want to chill.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one's. I mean, what was there much people you were dealing with who were constantly armed, or was it more that was the coke trade?
If I thought you were armed, I wouldn't mess with you. I don't want you around me.
Yeah. And so all the weed you got was from Colombia. Did you have a lot of contacts with the cartel down there?
For families that grew mountainsides of weed, if that's
okay.
what you mean.
All right. So, yeah.
So you weren't dealing with a large criminal enterprise when buying the drugs, just sort of farmers who.
When I started my first load in 1982, I went in and got 15,000 pounds on a 68-foot vessel. And that I met a family that had connections that took us up in the mountains. And I looked at the weed that they had available, and it was like exceptionally good.
Yeah.
And all I wanted was the tops. I didn't want to bring in no mid-level weed, no commercial weed. I didn't import commercial weed, all flower tops.
All right.
So it was all tops of the plant.
Colombia is a beautiful country.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Are you allowed to leave the country now, or was part of your?
I'm off probation. When I got out, I had 3 years probation.
Okay.
So I'm got my passport now.
Did they drug test you during your probation for marijuana?
Damn Skippy.
Yeah. And that must have been the worst.
Yeah. Well, it was all right. I didn't smoke weed until after I was off probation.
What was that first joint like, or whatever you smoked after all those years, and then finally being able to?
It was not off. I smoked almost every day in a joint.
Oh, you did. How does that work?
People get weed in.
People can get like hard drugs in there too, right?
Maximum security penitentiaries. I spent 2 years in the hole in Florence, Colorado.
Solitary confinement?
Solitary confinement for investigation of escape.
Wow.
I smoked weed in the hole at the most maximum security prison. Majority of the time I was there for 2 years.
Wait, so does that mean that some of these guys who've been put away, be it like one of the Boston bombers, Sarnav, who I think's in there?
No, they're at the ADX.
Okay, that's different.
It's not happening.
They're not getting weed? Okay.
No.
Okay, that makes me feel good.
So when you get to prison, are people kind of like, and they hear your story, are people like, that's pretty badass, like you're the cool guy?
So with my story in these prisons, you get a lot of respect because a lot of guys that are in there are hustlers, and they kind of give you respect for standing up. They're not inclined to friend people that are cooperating witnesses.
Yeah.
You best hook it up to the lieutenant's office and check your ass in and go to the hole, else you'll get beat down. This is in maximum security.
Yeah.
In minimum or medium, it's not like that. You can walk the yard.
Okay.
But
yeah.
in maximum security, if they find out that you as a person that cooperated against others, very good chance of you getting booked.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're Jared Fogle, say, I don't think he probably gets a lot of respect in prison. Jared Fogle was, you were maybe.
Who's Jared
Yeah,
Fogle?
actually, this is one of my last questions because I know we have to wrap it up.
But yeah.
After going to prison for so long and during extremely huge changes in society, technology, and everything, getting out, what was some of the most surprising things and differences from when you went in?
The phones.
Yeah.
They talk to you. They tell you where to go. They listen to you.
Yeah.
The phones. It blew my mind. My first night I went out to dinner and I seen so many people at the restaurants not talking, and they're
Everyone's just
they're on
glued.
phones.
Yeah,
And I told my family, listen, no phones at the dinner table.
that's a good rule.
Yeah.
So, I'm just blessed to be here. One of the things that going to prison for so long, I did 27 years, really teaches you gratitude.
Yeah.
But not only that, my last 9 years, I was a volunteer suicide companion. I was a yoga instructor. So it really taught me something that's super valuable. The highest form of knowledge on the planet is empathy. And gratitude is the abundance. It's the cornerstone of bringing abundance into your life. It's amazing how it works. And if you want to know more about it, read Survival of the Fastest and check out freedomgrow.org.
I'm really curious though, like how you coped with your 2 years in solitary confinement, because I feel like I would start to go kind of crazy after 5 days in there.
Well, you'd be surprised because one of the things we all have in common is adaptation. And some people don't adapt so good. You heard me just tell you, 9 years I was a suicide companion. I'd sat with hundreds and hundreds of men 4 hours a day, people that tried to take their lives. And some of them were getting ready to go home. They've been in for 30 years and now they're getting close to the door. Or maybe they've been in for 8 years and their family done kicked them to the curb, whatever the issue is. And a lot of them's had stuff done to them since they was a child, maybe by a family member. And they've never gotten over it or had anybody to really help get them through it and understand that we all have special gifts right here. Everyone on this planet have gifts within us. We got the gift of having the capacity and the capability to be the observer of our own thoughts and emotions. Well, with that known, you can take that to another level, and another gift is we have the capacity and capability to change any experience that we are experiencing in any situation or any circumstances. We have the ability to change that experience. If you're having a negative experience, you have the capacity and capability to change that experience simply by changing your perspective.
It's all up here.
I mean, I could have never imagined going through getting a life sentence, no parole, and having someone who's been there and seen it and gotten that in that moment, and now having this outlook is just, I mean, it's inspiring more than anything.
Yeah,
But
I just was a speaker at a cannabis convention, and I was a keynote speaker. And they asked me, well, what would be your topic? And I said, inspiration and magnificence. Well, how are you going to speak about that? Look, inspiration and magnificence is within us and all around us. You can look at your brother right here. Inspiration, we can all inspire each other and we can inspire ourselves. And that, to me, is magnificent.
well,
Wow.
unfortunately, I think we're going to have to wrap it up. I think we didn't even get into, your Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, 1986. We didn't even get into racing.
What was a bigger rush, racing in the Indy 500 or bringing in a giant shipment of weed?
Racing.
Okay.
It's nothing like it.
Yeah.
How much cross training was there between racing and smuggling? Like going fast?
I didn't train for the smuggling, but I trained for the racing.
Yeah.
I'm a big runner. I'd run 50 to 75 miles a week at the gym back in the day. Trained hard. A lot of, I like to do hand-eye coordination. A racquetball player. I love racquetball so much, I built my own racquetball court at my house. So,
What did you ever smoke while racing?
hell no.
I was wondering how that mixed.
No, I didn't smoke. Actually, I quit smoking weed in 1979 because I wanted to become a race car driver. And I would taste some of the weed that I was smuggling. I'll bring it in. But I didn't. I stopped the smoking because I wanted to devote my life to racing.
Yeah.
So, yes. So when you'd won the Indy 500 Rookie of the Year in 1986, do you think that may have contributed to attention on you and your
Had
operation?
nothing to do with it. I was already under investigation when I was at the 500 in 1986.
Huh.
Yeah.
When you were like first on the run, when you knew they were coming for you, I was reading that you went to Europe first, right? You were in Monte Carlo, and
First came to New York City.
first came to New York, and then Monte Carlo, but then you went back to the Caribbean.
Monte Carlo, then Switzerland,
Yeah.
south of France. I just was taking care of business, and I had a house and a boat down in the islands in Antigua.
Do you think if you had just stayed in Europe, you would have been caught? If you had just stayed there for the rest of your life? And
If I'd have stayed in Europe, I may have not
yeah.
been caught. I don't know, but you know, I did and had to pay my dues.
Yeah.
And 3 decades, 27 years, and now I'm out and helping others with cannabis prisoners that are in.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're doing the right thing. 'Cause there's a lot of people who
Thank
need your
you.
help.
Thank you. Please check out freedomgrow.org.
Yeah.
We're all volunteers, by the way. None of our board members take a salary. We all do it on our own time.
That's awesome.
And also read Survival of the Fastest. Get more of this story. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, just want to tell you, I put this book out. I dropped it August the 2nd. In 4 days, it was the #1 bestseller on Amazon.com. Amazon.
Yeah.
But I just sold it for a movie, a full feature
Oh,
film.
that's awesome.
Let's go.
So let's go.
Yeah.
It's getting it done.
When you have some more time in the future, we definitely have to have you back on to talk
Right
about.
on. Yeah, we got a lot to cover.
Yeah, because
Okay.
this
when the movie comes out.
Yeah,
When the
we'll bring
movie
it back
come
for the
out.
movie.
yeah, because
Yeah.
this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming on.
One second, I got one question, man.
Right on.
I've been, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I've been intently listening. This is a crazy story, man. So I just had a few questions, man. Apologize for keeping you no longer, but something you said was extremely powerful. But I always wondered about this, right? Because you said the highest form of knowledge on the planet is empathy, right?
Yeah.
And in your experience, how far do you extend that empathy within drawing boundaries for yourself for people not taking advantage of you?
Well, I think my intuition kind of fills that out when I think someone right now I'm some crazy stuff's going on with the cannabis industry that I'm involved with, and with corporations and so forth, trying to get things done. I just got given a license in the state next to you, New Jersey. Of all things, they've awarded me a cultivation license, a tier 4, 75,000 square feet of canopy. That's huge. And so in speaking to that, I got companies, corporations wanting to buy out my license right now, but I'm not going the corporate route. I'm kind of figuring it out myself. But for my empathy and applying it to people that are trying to maybe take advantage of something, I try to lead from my heart. And one of the things that if our intentions are from the heart, you'll always make the good decisions, I think.
I got you. I appreciate that. And lastly, man, I know it's a little kind of funny, but I'm just curious how this shit works. Like when you got pinched and you said you had all these overseas accounts,
Yep.
are those accounts like still active, or how does that work?
No, they took 7 years. I'm in the joint, and 4.5 years later, my wife gets indicted for money laundering.
Damn.
They end up arresting her. They seized the accounts in Switzerland. So when they seized those accounts, in one of the lawyers' offices were file cabinets. And in those file cabinets were documents that led them to another country, to Liechtenstein, where they went over there and seized those accounts. So
Damn.
it was like a domino effect, man, from one country to another, from Panama to Liechtenstein to Luxembourg to Zurich to Geneva. They just,
Followed the money.
I thought
Follow money.
I thought the whole point of Switzerland was that they didn't no, you can't
That's
look
false.
at it. I thought that was the whole
no,
thing.
if it's drug related, that you have no rights to any funding in Switzerland. They will turn your ass over.
Damn. Well, I appreciate the transparency, man. It's an amazing story. As they say, it's hella inspiring, man. So I appreciate you sharing it,
Well,
brother.
thank you, man. Look, we're all so blessed just to be here, to have this freedom to go on the path that we want to go on. And, we all can do great things because we have so many gifts within us. And if you really, really live through your heart with good intentions, you'll get all that stuff done.
Last question, I promise. Are you still racing?
I am doing this is amazing. Tomorrow, Road and Track Magazine has invited me to do the Hudson Quad Central. They're giving me a new Hellcat, 600, I think, 40 horsepower to drive a rally from Albany, New York to Lime Rock, Connecticut, and with 25 hand-picked cars. So I do high-performance driving instructions to Daytona, Homestead Speedway, and Sebring in Florida. And I've done 5 races since I've been released. I've taken 2 seconds, 1 fourth, and 2 DNFs. Did not finish.
Huh.
Okay.
Do you think you could compete with some of the guys today? Have a
With the
resurgence?
I better be in a class with some legacy people because my eyesight's not like it used to be. My reflexes aren't like it used to be. So at a point there comes when age comes about and you don't see no F1 drivers that are in their 40s or 50s or 60s. You see youngsters that are at the wheel with the foot down on the throttle doing amazing things.
So does the reflexes really deteriorate that much with age to the point where it's...
Yeah, when you're traveling at over 200 miles an hour and you're moving so fast, you got to be quick on your eyesight and your hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you would think that you could just, really drive, like, as someone who's much more of an outsider to the sport, you feel that driving something that it's not that intensive on your body, so that
it's killer on the body.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've never experienced it.
You're constantly getting G-forces and the heat in the car is just amazing. It's 120 degrees or more in the car.
Yeah, you have to be so locked in. I can't even imagine it.
That's it. The guys that you see are up front a lot.
Yeah.
They're probably concentrating. Their level of concentration is probably just a tad higher than the people in the back.
Yeah. I mean, I get nervous when I'm going like 80 miles per hour on the highway. So I can't imagine doing what you do.
Do you think there's been some controversy in NASCAR and some of the racing leagues recently about Adderall use in drivers? Do you have any input on that? Was it prevalent in your time?
Adderall probably didn't even exist.
Any type of
when you were there.
amphetamines?
Anybody that's got any sense isn't doing drugs in a race car. I never saw it. I saw it afterwards.
Yeah.
Afterwards, there were people that would take part in snorting coke or whatever, drinking beers or whatever, but not in a car.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all time we got for today. We need to have you back, definitely. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Check out freedomgrow.org and check out Survival of the Fastest, the story of Randy. An amazing story. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
That was Randy Lanier, a really amazing guest. Honestly, we're going to have him back, talk more of his story because we didn't even get into his racing. That was wild. That was a tour de force.
He has a great attitude for someone who had to spend 26 years in jail.
Well, he got to smoke weed every day in prison. That was the wildest part of the whole.
Yeah.
I didn't know drugs were that accessible. But after reading about all the smuggling that goes into prisons, like, I mean, I wanted to ask him if all the weed was from keystering, but probably different.
Yeah.
Probably like the old like longest yard tricks.
I don't think it would be too painful to put a small baggie up your butt. Would you guys do it?
No.
Billy?
I think if I'm at the point in my life
You'd put
where
it
I'm
in your
smuggling, if I'm at the point where I'm smuggling shit in my booty, like it's like it's whatever at that point. You know what I'm saying? It's like however I got to do to make it through the day. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I was actually shocked. I was at a soccer game in Milan, and they were playing Liverpool. This was not Paddy the Batty, but it was one of his friends. I noticed he was doing cocaine, and he had just like flown in from the UK, and I was like, how did you get that in Italy? And he was like, oh, I just put it in between my butt cheeks and brought it on the plane.
Flew commercial.
Yeah, and flew commercial. It wasn't like a lot, but that's not something I would ever do. Yeah.
Oh, European security's pretty light though, right?
I mean, no one is checking your butt, but
they don't have those raise your hand.
Yeah, I assume when you raise your hands, that can see if you have like a tiny baggie in between your butt cheeks. or else what's the point of even having those things?
I don't know, man. I'd be looking at it. They don't really have.
Or maybe
it doesn't look that. I think it's more for like metal and stuff like that. I don't think they're really checking for drugs.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it can see everything. That was the whole big thing when they started those, was people where they said it was like too invasive.
But they can't see everything. That's what I'm saying. You can see what they see on the other side. They can't see everything.
Can they see
everything.
your penis? Because I read a story about a TSA employee
who
who
got
was
into a fight, right?
Yeah, because like all of his coworkers were making fun of his small penis, and he just lost it.
'Cause the
like,
guys
and, like
can read
attacked
it.
him.
But I think,
you can see what they see. You can't see your penis. You can't see it.
No. That thing that they see is something that either computer scans or a third party person who's like in the back who can't even see you is looking at.
Okay.
I didn't know there was a third party viewing it.
Yeah, because that story was
that true?
Yeah, that was
fact like that.
No, that was a true story, and I mean,
No, I'm talking about somebody else looking at the
oh yeah, I don't know
scanner
about that.
looks at the scanner at the airport. I also have a take after reading all this because of how much smuggling impacts the economy and taxes. Like, what if all the TSA implication was to conserve tax dollars and ensure that you couldn't fly cigarettes to New York City? I know that's pretty wild.
You think that's why they have?
I mean,
TSA?
think about it. You're not allowed to bring like smuggling. I don't know. It's a big impact on smuggling. You can't smuggle stuff on your person anymore because of those things. But like, think about the economic boom from not being able to bring food into airports, not being able to, put whatever you want in your suitcase.
Well, you can bring some food. You just can't bring water or like a drink through.
But like, you can't bring a drink. So alcohol sales are boosted. Like the thing is, you can expense a lot of work trip stuff. How much of an economic boom was caused by more intense security at the airport?
I don't know. The crazy thing though is that they've shown it like every once in a while, Homeland Security will just send someone through with like a fake bomb or a fake gun, and like I think they only catch those people like 10% of the time.
But they do
It's
catch
insane.
a lot of people.
So real quick, this interview said millimeter wave machines don't see nipples or genitalia, and they do not pick up size, weight, or height. You can't. Oh, fucking ad.
I think maybe the first version of it you could, and then
the
they
first
changed it.
version is then they changed it because it was too invasive.
The waves go through
because people were
clothing,
getting made fun of for having small penises.
and they reflect off the passenger skin. Why hasn't plastic surgery made penis stuff yet?
They do have penis enlargement.
They do, yeah.
But like,
Brett,
Down
not
in
really.
Miami, and like if you go down to Miami, you can get whatever surgery you want.
I feel like that would like make so many insecure people and just life better
yeah, but
for like
you have to
angsty
think,
people.
You have to think about how. I think that's a big surgery.
yeah,
I think there's a big not good happening rate.
and they have this thing where they're not really making your dick longer. They like just bring your penis like further out of your body, so it looks bigger.
It's more of an
There
optical
was
illusion.
I watched something on YouTube about this doctor in Miami who's like the premier penis enlargement guy, and like all the people going to him were the douchiest guys you could imagine, but just because it's a very pricey surgery, so it's all just extremely rich, extremely insecure people that are going down for it.
That TSA agent just went right down to Miami.
Yeah. I mean, I also think there's a difference between someone who has like a small penis and then if you have a
Micro.
micro.
I don't think
yeah.
you can do anything about that.
Yeah, I don't think there's
I
much
think that's just what it is.
unless you just got a new penis, but I'm pretty
I can
sure.
see how that could be. I could see how that would suck, man.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah.
I have someone ready.
If you're a listener, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay. You're probably extremely skilled in other ways.
Yeah.
And people
need to
are
be.
okay with that.
Yeah.
You better get that mouth popping. That's facts.
Yeah, I mean, they also have a surgery that can make you, I think, 4 inches taller.
That
or
is one
something.
of the
But-
most painful surgeries in the world.
Yeah, they have to break like all
You're
the
like
bones.
trying to
breaks your
get
bones.
PTSD.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
fuck.
that's crazy. That is crazy.
Just be happy with
Yeah, I mean, I
what you
like,
can't change.
yeah.
But if you want to get a boob job,
Now if you're going bald and you have the money, you can get new hair.
I mean, you're sitting in someone's seat who's balding.
Yeah, and he could
man.
probably afford to get the hair transplant.
He's looking
so
for pity.
it won't
I know
be
he's not here,
a big
but-
problem for him. But I don't know if PFT's the type of guy who would get hair transplant surgery. I don't know.
Who everyone's going to Turkey for that.
Yes.
What
I
what's
went
your
to
insight on
Turkey.
that? Yeah.
Well, just walking around there, you see all these people who have bandages on their head because it's the hair transplant capital of the world. Where you can get it here, I just think it's a lot cheaper in Turkey, and they have tons of doctors who do it. So that's like made it the capital.
There's I heard there's travel packages that are less expensive than the price of the surgery here, and they set you up you can it's like a whole travel experience where you do that while you go to spas after the surgery. You go to like the bazaars and stuff before the surgery.
Yeah, you get the full experience.
I have someone ready to beef if we want to beef.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's do it. That wraps up the smuggler talk.
Let me
Great job,
see. Let's
Billy.
see if we got any smuggle stuff. Yeah, but those
Don, great
those
job.
implants.
Hello?
Scariest.
Hey, you hear me?
Yeah. What's your name?
Excalibur.
Excalibur.
Ooh,
Hi, Excalibur.
sword.
Yeah, Billy. My name is, sorry, I'm super nervous. My name is Callan, so I just went with Excalibur.
Word.
The
I don't know,
incorporates
man.
that.
Your name is
Oh,
Callan?
no, my actual name is Callan.
Callan.
Yeah.
Got you. What up, dog? What's the beef?
What's your
What's
beef?
up,
Yeah.
dude? So to be honest, don't have any beef. I just wanted to say I appreciate all y'all and what you do every week. I enjoy listening to y'all. One thing I will say to Mad Dog is my wife loved One Direction, and
Love her.
I had I was a big doubter in Harry Styles for a while, but this last album was pretty awesome.
This is the best beef I've ever heard. It's
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really, I'm a pretty, positive vibes guy, so I didn't really want to come in here,
Slay.
like a bull in a china shop.
Look, this just made my day. I love when like straight guys think they're too cool for One Direction and Harry Styles.
Who said I was straight?
Your wife, probably.
Yeah.
and they're like, oh no, like they're like Harry Styles isn't cool, and then they listen and then they get it,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. And again, Harry Styles isn't for everyone, but he is for a lot of fucking people, and he rocks, and I love him so much, and he is the best, and I'm so glad that you enjoy him. And also One Direction, like their later albums, like 4 and Made in the AM, if you are into like Harry stuff, those are similar vibes. Like you can find some really good songs on their like kind of last 2 albums that are more they're less like bubblegum pop. Like they have some bangers on 4 and Made in the AM. If anyone else is listening to this and wants Harry Styles adjacent music, I'm sure there's tons of you. No Control on 4, and Clouds and Stockholm Syndrome. And then on Made in the AM, Temporary
Mad Dog's
Fix.
going off right now.
Yeah, and again, this is why this should be the niche category for the dozen. Anyways, and then on Made in the AM, if you want like Temporary Fix and End of the Day and History, like those are all really good songs that are kind of like Harry Styles adjacent to what he's kind of doing now. But Harry Styles is I love him so much. He rocks. So I'm glad you enjoy him.
Yeah, I won't go that far. I really don't know anything about him other than this last album. But yeah, I did have a question for Arian now that I think about it. So how often do you kind of listen to other, very different genres of music when you are trying to, kind of formulate what goes into a new project that you have? So say like, for example, you're, rap, hip hop, kind of, but like, have you ever like ventured into listening to like metal or, you know, more hardcore rock to kind of incorporate any of those sort of things into your music?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, growing up, I mean, rap was the popular genre around, you know, my demographic growing up. But my mom and dad loved Tupac, and so they were like really open into what we were into, but we were also open into what they were into. And so my mom and dad are like from different places. So my mom's from like a small farm, and so she listened to like all that like Beach Boys and Eagles and Three Dog Night and Patsy Cline.
Three Dog
and
Night's
all that
incredible.
Kind of yeah. And so like growing up, I listened to all that shit, and so it didn't like listening to the new music. It didn't come with a bias. It was like, oh, you bitch, because you listen to Woo. Like it was just natural for me to listen to all that kind of stuff. And my dad, he's from South Central LA, and so I got, you know, Confunction and Earth, Wind and Fire, and that, you know, that side of genre. And so I was never the cool kid as far as like too cool to check out other genres. I've definitely listened to metal. Like I know like Rob Zombie, like stuff like that. Like I grew up like listening to and trying out, and also like rock and roll, or it's like Aerosmith, or, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers, shit like that. And so like when I'm creating a project, I more so get like a feel of a sound that I'm trying to capture, and then I will dabble. Like, so this new project I'm working on, I'm listening to a lot of like funk stuff because I'm really into the harmonies of funk, and so that's a great question. But yeah, I love all genres of music, like all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just wondering because, you know, a lot of like when you listen to people's music, and I feel like whenever you go deeper into somebody's album, you kind of look for what they're sampling. It kind of can show where their head's at whenever they're making a project. So I appreciate that insight. But yeah, so I just, you know, I just wanted to get on here. I didn't want to bring any bad vibes. I know this is what's the beef, but
we should just,
you know, I'm a positive vibes guy, and
we should just start doing questions because it's a lot less.
I kind of like this sometimes though. This is nice.
But maybe we should just change.
Yeah, that's what Billy's saying though.
Billy just want to argue with somebody.
Yeah,
we should just make it questions. I don't know why we.
Because sometimes
we should do questions and beef.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you're at the start of something new, Excalibur.
Thanks, Excalibur.
Nice, dude.
Appreciate
that would be awesome if I could start something new. That'd be insane.
We'll call it Faxcaliburs.
We're not going to call it that.
You might have to work on the name.
Facts.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling.
They ask for facts.
Let's keep spitballing, but yeah, I appreciate y'all. I don't want to, take up too much of the time, but yeah, I appreciate y'all and everything you do. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, I keep adding on, but I'm going back to a listener question or a voicemail. It was like, what do you like to listen to or look at when you're high? The best YouTube channel that I've ever come across to watch is I think it's pronounced Kurzgesagt. Kurzgesagt. And I actually sent you a video, Arian, and it was right as I started the process of your ritual, and you sit down. I got on Twitter. I started watching this video. I sent it to you. I said, watch this while high. And so I took it from your reaction that you've kind of seen their stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been on Kurzgesagt for a good 7 years.
Yeah, they have a lot of stuff.
They're really good, really well researched. It's very science based. They tell you when they're leaving the science realm and entering philosophy. Like I like informative videos like that. They're really, really dope to look at. Now, favorite one of theirs is called What is Light?
What is Light? I haven't seen that one.
It's dope. It's like 5 minutes. It's really short, but it's really dope. Really dope.
One of my favorite ones is the one, I think it's like When Will the Last Human Be Born or something like that. And the numbers that they start throwing out there as far as like population in the future is unfathomable. Like we think that we're, part of like the 5% of humans that will ever live, right? Or have lived so far. And then when they start talking about like, oh, you could be part of the 0.001% of people who ever lived, mind blowing. But yeah, I appreciate it, Mad Dog. I'm sorry I kind of bended the truth a little bit when I said I had beef with you about Harry Styles. But yeah, to tie it all back, Harry Styles is pretty chill, and I think more guys need to get out of their rut and listen to other music that they might think is a little bit more feminine.
Look,
Yeah.
so do I.
So, we appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate
Take
it.
care, my
Thank
guy.
you.
Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, I have another guy who I think actually has beef. I think that's nice though.
Yeah.
Granted, he was complimenting or he was talking about something.
Like,
I
all
really
these
liked.
people are so nice, and then the next guy's gonna come in and be like, "Billy, you're a pussy."
Yeah, it was good to keep us. How would we just make it like you could do both? You could be nice or beef.
Yeah. As long as you choose one or the other.
Yeah, choose one.
You can't just come on and be neutral.
So, Donnie, you might catch some strays.
People.
I don't know if people know I'm actually here right
I
now.
did. I told him because I was like,
Oh,
you
okay.
can't beef with PFT
Okay.
today. Someone did say they have beef with you
Yeah?
about some take you had about garbage or something. Garbage plate.
Yeah, I mean, oh, yes, yep. I know about that.
Hello.
Chief didn't man, you're on the air.
How we doing, guys?
Are you
Poppin',
chief?
man.
Yes, I am Chief. I'm doing well. I just wanted to my beef today kind of revolves around Big T, and I'm going to start by saying, Big T, I view you as the most valuable Dojan or the MVD because without you, this might be too much of a liberal circle jerk as a liberal myself.
Many people have said
So
this.
I just want to gas you
Not
up
a
a little
liberal.
bit,
Not a liberal.
but
I don't
either
think
way.
we're too liberal today.
But basically, the first thing I wanted to say, Big T, was congrats on the win with Tennessee. But I do have beef with the fact that the episode before that, you were acting like you were too cool to say we want Bama, and then you were scrambling like a little boy on Christmas morning the second that field goal went through. So
I mean,
that's the one thing. It's like it's good to be happy about it, but you were acting way too cool for the we want Bama thing.
It's not. I found the question odd. Like, Tennessee plays Alabama every year. I love that we play them every year. It's a great rivalry. Yeah, I want to play them and beat them.
No, and I know, and I get that, but like, let's be real, bro. You were acting way too play the next guy in front of us, and then you wanted that bad.
But then
you wanted that bad. You've been waiting 17 years.
Yeah, no
this is
shit.
The first time in years that you were ready.
And then here's what's would have happened if I was like, yeah, fuck, we want Bama, and then if Tennessee loses, then you guys would have been like, oh, what a fucking idiot! Like, thought they were gonna beat Alabama. So there's no
an emotional hedge, basically.
to
Bro. It's all right to be hopefully. It's all right to be
You
hopefully
move-
optimistic, and then
You move accordingly to how other people gonna react to you, dog.
No, I think you know me well enough to know that that's not the case. I'm just saying that.
That's what you just said.
No, I said that regardless of what you say, people would have found issue in it. So
they find issue in not gassing up your team and being there through the hard times and being like, "You're damn right, we want
Listen,
Bama." I'm a Washington football fan, so
Chief.
my life's
I'm with
been
you,
rough.
I have sat
And,
through
like-
Tennessee losing to Georgia State to fucking every other team you can imagine. Trust me, I have been there when Tennessee was not worth a fuck. I am very happy that they are good now.
All right. Well, fair enough there. The other thing I wanted to do to come to your defense was there was the discussion around the Billy Eichner tweet, and as the whole Billy Eichner tweet where he was like about the transphobia,
Yeah,
you don't go
yeah.
see his movie and stuff. I actually kind of side with you on that because it was like there's no need to even make that comment. It's just like go promote your own movie. Don't be like making a comment about transphobia. And they kind of jumped on you, or at least a couple of the people on here, like Arian and PFT.
He didn't.
homophobia.
He didn't say
trans-
transphobia. He
well,
was
yeah,
just like
homophobia.
straight
but-
people
sorry.
didn't come and see this movie.
Well, then he said,
Yeah,
if you're not
but
a
he's-
homophobic weirdo, go see Bros tonight.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's off. Like you might just not want to see it because
I saw
it
it.
might not be a great movie. Oh yeah.
I saw it before we interviewed him to give a synopsis. And look, it was funny, but a lot of the subject matter didn't really pertain to me. And I don't think I would have gone out of my way to see it.
Okay.
Well, you're a
I
homophobic weirdo.
I understood where you were coming from with that, and I think you got jumped on a little bit harder than needed.
He was triggered.
I
That's why. He
appreciate
was
that.
triggered.
And then lastly, I wanted to say to you, Big T, is tell me you're a Man City fan without telling me you're a Man City fan. This one's for you, Arian, where you went to Arian's Madden player card for his hands ability, because there's the discussion about Arian's hands. And first off, if Arian's as nice at Valorant as he says he is and all this, I don't know in particular, he's definitely got nice hands.
I'm diamond now.
Diamond, yeah. He's a pro athlete and he's a diamond in Valorant. Like, I'm a gamer myself. That's nice. Like,
they don't respect that on this.
Wait,
I be telling them they don't know how. You know what I mean?
Valorant's a sheer skill gap. It's a game that respects the skill gap. Competitive as fuck, unlike games like Call of Duty where I sweat on. But I respect that, Arian. You got nice hands. This man went to the Madden player card. This man's like Electronic Arts.
I'm confused what that has to do with Manchester City.
That's because you picked Man City based on just like FIFA, right? I'm pretty sure you admitted that.
I see.
You're like, here's the Golden State Warriors of the FIFA game. Let's go for them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily see the correlation. I would just curious what Madden had Arian's hands at, but
all right. Well, either way, just wanted to say, just come in here. There's a couple things I had for you, especially because want to congratulate you. That's a big win. Thought you tried to play it off as too cool. Billy and Avery, I appreciate the dark horse pick for Penn State. I'm a Penn State guy. If you ever want to come up for a whiteout game, you guys should definitely do that. That's one of the best college football experiences. And Donnie, can we have you on here as a mainstay? Bro, that conversation on the last pod where you, Avery, and Billy just cooked when the other three went to the, what was it, the trivia or whatever? That was awesome.
That was a good time. I love this pod. I love coming on. So
we got more coming tomorrow.
Excellent.
Yeah,
might have to do a third pod a week called Extra Dose. Just us three.
Yeah.
Extra dose.
Donnie dose.
Love it.
Yeah, the Donnie
if we
dose.
can get Billy playing European football, oh my god, dude.
I actually really want to do that. I've been thinking about it.
He's in the process.
I'm like, I squatted 365 in my squat workout, just trying to get back up there, because I'm thinking like maybe I'm gonna do it. Better start getting the weights
going
up.
for QB? Are you going for QB or like because they're only allowed 4 USA players or some shit?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd start slinging the rock again.
That'd be sick.
I'm thinking about it.
They might be about that to get a little more exposure. I didn't even realize they had a league like that.
I'd have to really, if I wasn't good enough, I would, if I didn't feel like I could still sling it and still do it, I wouldn't like put myself in the situation where I'd just be like, oh, Billy, like we want this kid to bring us exposure, just throw me starting and just like suck. Like I'm thinking that I can have some success.
The content alone would be amazing.
Yeah. Because they have that big European league, but they have smaller leagues that are like just in Spain or just in Italy, where the competition isn't as intense. You could probably
is that like a Champions League for American football over there? Then that Austria and Germany, you were mentioning them, and Barcelona.
Yeah,
like
that's like the highest level where I think it's a lot of D1 college players who go and play in that league.
Okay.
But like the smaller leagues that are just in one country, those are a lot of D3 college players. So I think he'd be able to thrive.
It'd be so tight. Well, either way, guys, that's all I had for you guys. One of the highlights of my week, 2 times a week, listening to you guys. So really appreciate you guys having me on, and can't wait to listen to some more of you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Peace.
We have a girl who wants to beef.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do one more.
A girly.
Sneaky, two nice people. Let's see if we continue on, or someone's just.
Bro, I feel like we have to explain this to you every what's the beef. There's nobody that's gonna be mad. They're obviously fans of the pod, bro.
I know, but sometimes they just come in hot.
Yeah, I feel like all of the people that are the biggest haters wouldn't take the time to call in.
Thanks.
Or again, I think it's like a lot of they're haters, and then they get on here, and you have to like face it.
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah.
"Oh, wait, I don't
Even
wanna
a lot of people realize hating's not really fun in person.
Yeah.
It's only fun
Thanks.
behind a keyboard.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Are you Katie?
She sounds pissed.
I am. I'm actually a woman.
This is
No,
awesome.
I am.
Katie, who do you have beef with?
Okay, so I have beef with Billy, and I want to be real nice about this because people
Don't be nice.
really
Don't be nice.
But what you said about black bears is completely false. They're very protective of their cubs.
Whoa.
They're just reluctant to attack people.
So I was on that train. I was like, yeah, that black bear was definitely cub defending. But then there was this dude in my DMs who was commenting on the post that said that he posted a picture of him with 2 black bear cubs that he had picked up that the mother just didn't
Oh my god! What an idiot!
Was that at like a zoo?
Don't do that.
I know, don't do that.
At all. And they can actually have predatory attacks. So in August, there was a woman in Vermont who got attacked out of nowhere by a black bear, and they really don't know why.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I just want to say, if you're going to say anything about, dangerous animals, do a little quick fact check before, you spread that information.
I love this woman.
Huh. Well, by the way, that video that was seen, so it turns out that was actually an Asiatic black bear, closer to a sloth bear. It was a Japanese black bear. So
That video is terrifying.
I know. Did you see the story about the 2 wrestlers from Wyoming that grappled a bear off his friend?
I saw the photo of it afterwards.
Yeah, it's on ESPN. It's insane.
I'm going to have to look that up immediately. But yeah, that was
I could
bad.
see,
And also, Mad Dog, thank you so much for picking me.
You're welcome. I saw a girl in the Discord and I needed it like I needed air to breathe.
Yeah, there's a lot of testosterone in there.
Yeah, I know.
It's very toxic.
Tell me about it.
But I actually do agree with you. I definitely think that black bears are more cub protective than people think, probably with other smaller animals. But when people talk about they're not cub protective when they attack humans, I think it's more the human element. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Thank you. And so I'm from northern Vermont. I'm in the Chicago suburbs now. But when you go hiking, you'll run into a lot of black bears. And sometimes you'll see cubs and the moms will get really defensive, but they're usually they'll just run off. Yeah. So they'll puff and get kind of close and look really angry, but 9 times out of 10, they just turn around.
Northern Vermont's probably beautiful right now.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
All the foliage.
Mm-hmm.
Was that what that video of? Was that video of? Was that a black bear where that dude beat the black bear off him down the mountain?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh no, that was in that video that I showed was in Japan.
Dude. That's what's up. But was it a black bear?
It was a Japanese black bear, which is more like a sloth bear, which is super vicious.
Yeah, he beat him off though.
Yeah. But crazy stuff.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I need to get back into work. I'm definitely being looked at right now. So
thank you. Thanks. I appreciate you being a girl in the Discord.
Yeah, thanks. You guys have a great day.
You too.
You too.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Love her.
All right.
She came in here.
Fans in the Discord. Shout out to her.
As a girl, and then proceeded to explain to Billy a bear fact. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really awesome. Well, I guess
love it.
That's macrodosing. Hopefully PFT's back on Monday for nanodosing. I think he will be. If not, Donnie, you still around next week?
I will be around. Can I add one more thing about drug smuggling?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, let's empty the clip. We got to empty the clip.
Did you guys remember when one of the editors for Vice in Canada was arrested for running a cocaine trafficking ring?
Oh yeah.
Or he was involved in it?
Yeah.
And he was getting people he worked with to transport cocaine to Australia. That would be like if Coley Mick, when he was the editor, was trying to convince some of the interns to fly a package for him to Australia. But yeah,
Jake Malasek.
Yeah, hey Jake, I got a package.
Hey,
don't
Jake,
worry.
Just don't look into it and just fly to Australia.
Yeah. So I guess when he was trying to convince one of the people to do it, he said, "Yo, this is the most gangsterish thing that you will ever do," and tried to compare it to a Future song in a attempt to hype them up. So just going up to Jake Malasek, yo, it's gonna be just like a Future song.
Fuck
bro.
up some commas.
Yeah. Fuck up some commas in Australia.
Don't fumble the bag.
Yeah.
That's
but yeah, he got caught and he is now doing time in jail where he wants to start a podcast.
The funniest meme I saw about the Broncos losing 2 nights ago was some of the Broncos players just talking to each other, looking pissed on the sideline, being like, "We can't listen to Future in the locker room for this."
Oh.
Oh man.
Yeah. So just wanted to compare that to what it would be like if that happened at Barstool.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening.
Buy our merch.
Buy the
Buy the
merch.
merch, please.
You guys look
Buy the
so
mids.
beautiful and handsome right now in the mids and the Macro House
The Macro
merch.
House merch is sick.
Billy, do you want to turn around real
Yeah,
quick?
check
Do a
this
little
out.
180. It's got our faces on the back. Me and Avery also made the shirt this time.
Yeah, we listened. We
lit
listened
it
to
up.
we listened to some consumer feedback, and yeah, we ramped it up. We got all good quality material now.
Yeah, that's the thing with the merch here. You gotta let them know you want the high quality stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we got mids merch, we got Macro House merch, we got the tie-dye merch you guys saw a couple days ago. We got a whole slew of stuff out right now.
Mm-hmm.
So go buy it.
Arian, I'm sorry for interrupting your song.
No, it was user error, my brother. User
okay.
error. Just you couldn't hear it. It was neither one of our faults.
Oh, also
was a banger.
shout out the Billy List guys who helped me out with my truck. Huge shout out to engineer guy, and I'm forgetting the names right now, but you helped me a lot.
All right.
See you guys
Yeah,
next week.
thank you to them. Peace.
Love you
Peace out.
guys.